Woo! Ahoy, Crypto Pirates! Welcome to your Discourse and Gets FN Hangout. I am the captain, your captain, RG3, Hexican / doer of all things good on the Pulse chain. I'm so freaking proud of this week. This next week is going to be absolutely friggin' epic. Oh, and in the bottom of a bear market. In the bottom of a bear market, I'm this excited about what's happening. Everything that's happening. If you haven't been working, you're probably fucking bummed right now. You're probably hurting. You're probably sitting in a corner pissing yourself because it's been down for so long. The dips is killing you. You gotta get to work. Get to work and get excited about what's about to come. Yeah, you got PulseChain, guys. We got PulseChain. Let me say hello to everybody real quick. MT Coiner, welcome. Being first. The Mo. What's up, the Mo? Side Effects, what's up, dude? Sandy Beach, my lady, welcome. Everybody check out Sandy Beach and get yourself in shape. She's doing a sit-up, pull-up, push-up, get healthy challenge. I guess I said that right. Oh, who else? Quinn, welcome, Quinn. So nice meeting you the other week in Utah. Good to see you. Mel Tony, always working hard, always in the chat, always making things happen for us. Thanks, Mel Tony. Who else is in here? Look at that. Everybody talking to each other. Oh, everybody knows Kinetics is in the background, everybody. The man, the myth, the legend, the man who's been disappeared in the basement for like the last 6 months. Right on. Well, welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming and hanging with us this evening. It's a very special evening tonight before we kick off the FN Hangout. And again, this is your stream. You're going to get to come on tonight, but we do have some guests that are going to come on and start setting up this week for something that's about to happen. A project that myself, my partners, Kinetics, Kool-Aid, and Maximus J, we've been working together for a while now. We've teamed up with some folks from the gaming world, and some of them are world renowned. You guys know who they are. Well, they're all world renowned because you've played their games, you've used their technology, you've seen their artwork. So that would be all of the originators, not the founders, but the core design team of Blizzard Entertainment. So we've teamed up with them, and we're going to be doing some cool stuff this week. We're going to talk about a project that we're going to launch on PulseChain next Friday during the Free Mint Friday. It's going to be an NFT platform. We're going to talk in depth about it. So yeah, that's what's happening. So with no further ado, because I don't want to sit here and talk and rant all night, but wait a minute. One more thing I want to say. I just said that if you're not excited, that means you're not doing anything. I think that's what we were supposed to do. We were supposed to all go to work. A lot of us, we decided to go to work on messing with people and making memes and jokes and poking people in the eye and trying to, root out scammers. And I think that was a lot of time wasted where you could have been doing something positive, because no matter what, the scammers are going to come. The scammers are going to come, the scammers are going to go. It's your responsibility to watch your own ass, and the people that you bring around here, teach them how to avoid and look out for scams, to avoid and look out for things that they know nothing about, or doing things that they can get themselves hurt in. That's your job, not the people that are out there building. You need to let those people go do their thing. I know that there's been some projects lately that have had troubles. And the first thing that we in this community tend to do is instantly call it a rug pull or a scam. You guys cry wolf so much that people aren't going to know what a scam is. If there are developers out there that are making mistakes and failing, And there's going to be plenty of them. This crypto development is hard, man. It is really hard. On top of the technology itself, you've got dilapidated tools that have just come out that aren't working well. You've got a new chain. You've got bridging issues. You've got liquidity issues. You've got bots to compete with when you launch your coin. There are all these different externalities out there that can knock you in the dirt. And for anybody to go out there and criticize people that are trying to do things, fuck you. Shame on you. Let them go and make their mistakes. Let them go and fail. You don't need to get involved, and you shouldn't. If you are getting involved with projects that are just launching, you're an idiot. Or you're very, very brave and you have risk tolerance that you can go and do that with. If not, stay out of this game. It's not for you. You shouldn't be playing with new shit. If you're an infant in this industry, if you're an infant to crypto, stay away from the dangerous shit. It will mess you up. Leave that to the experts. Let them go get hurt and skin their knees up and get banged up. The rest of you stay out of it. And Captain Save a Pleb out there, just freaking leave everybody else alone. Let them go make their mistakes and let them get up off of their faces, dust themselves off, and go move forward and try and build something right. That's why PulseChain is here, for crypto to advance. And if you dumb motherfuckers out there just keep on banging on people that are trying to do things, trying to make yourself look good, God, like a bunch of fucking mall cops is what you all look like. You do. You look like a bunch of mall cops out there trying to be the crypto police. Fucking stupid. It is really ridiculous. And you do all these real serious streams out there like, these people, they're just trying to wreck you. You need to stay away. Shut up. Shut up and let people go do their thing. And for you plebs, stay away. It's dangerous. Look both ways before you cross the street, kiddies. All right, everybody. With no further ado, I'm going to bring up. So first man I'm going to bring up, of course, my right-hand man and partner, Ken Nipples.
I'm back.
You are
for now.
Back. You've never gone anywhere. You've just been in the basement.
I've been lurking in the basement. That's right.
Feeding you Hot Pockets and keeping your computer running.
Bring me the pizza rolls.
Everybody, this is Kinetics. He's my business partner, and we have been building lots of things. Some of them successful, some of them absolute complete flops, and some of them sitting in the middle somewhere. So we've continued to build on the Hex PulseChain ecosystem. We've made movies together. We've done all kinds of cool stuff, and now we're taking it to another level. We're gonna talk to you guys about our new project here tonight, and bring up the rest of the crew that's doing it. So second, of course, our left-hand man in charge here. Kool-Aid, you there? Kool-Aid?
There
he is from Command Center, from his spaceship.
Doctor?
That's right. That's right.
Doctor.
Oh boy, that's an old blast from the past.
What's going on?
For those of you who don't know, Kool-Aid is the original tech in the background of Discourse Syndicate, helping us build our sets, helping us keep our cameras working. You know, when we were very, very young and knew a lot less than we know now, which we don't know much more. We just got higher tech equipment that works better. That's all.
We just look better now.
We just look better because the cameras work. We got $1,000 lights and, you know, and stuff like that.
We don't have laptops overheating for stream.
Yeah, that was a good day, though. Those were good days.
Those are the good days, and we had laptops catching on fire and shit.
If only we had known back then that those were going to be the good old days.
Right.
I'll tell you what.
Was it like 3 years ago, 4 years ago? The good old days.
That's like 30 years in crypto.
God.
I even feel like I'm 30 years older now.
I popped open my Steam account today, and I have a 20-year badge in my Steam account from the old gaming days. I started the first year Steam started 2003. Now that is OG right there. All right, and then one of our other partners here, Dr. Maximus J.
Doctor.
Doctor, good to see you, Doctor. What's up, guys?
Doctor on aisle 3.
The one person in there is a guest, right? That's a guest, I'm assuming. or who is that? Why are we changing our names right now? Like right now is not the time to be changing our name.
It's Kinetic's fault. It's Kinetic's fault. Let's bring him.
That's his idea.
Well, he chose that name.
That's Burton.
That's Burton.
Oh, is it Burton? All right, anybody. Another one of our creators, another one of the gentlemen in the background, Dr. Derp. Otherwise, Burton.
There he is.
What's happening, buddy? So I'm gonna let everybody talk about their positions and everything, because this is our core team on the crypto side. We're actually bringing the blockchain technology, creativity, and marketing and everything to the FanForge project. The other team is the creative, the guys who really put this whole thing together. We're helping them marry it to PulseChain, and this is the super crew here that's making it happen. So our man representing the FanForge side, I'm gonna let him give his pedigree, because we had a long talk today, and I talked about something. He and I have overlapped for years here in Southern California. I won't talk about some of the places that he's worked. I'll let him have that if he wants to. But I actually worked literally in the same buildings as he was a young man working in the building. I used to move machinery inside of the buildings that he was working in at the same time. Like we were literally there at the same time. That. Yeah, it's pretty wild. We just figured that out today. But ladies and gentlemen, this is from the crew over at Blizzard. This is our man Joe Solo. What's happening, buddy?
Hey everyone.
He is
be a part of the stream.
He's a little shooken up because he's a game dev, guys. He doesn't have the Kool-Aid that Kool-Aid has to keep him sane. Joe's like still out there getting beat up all the time, every day, all day. So he's
one of the best character artists I've ever known and worked with. So yeah, he's a fantastic person, amazing artist, great guy, and
fast. Like the stuff that you guys. So for all of you out there, we work together on we have this platform that we use that we work together, and it's like we can share ideas and emails and messages and all that. And like they get an idea in their head, these freaking gaming developer dudes, and then all of a sudden there's a fucking like badass image, and then it's like, oh, let's change this, and then boom, there's a whole nother image, and it's like, holy shit, look what these guys are doing. It's amazing to watch these guys work, man. You guys are something else with your artistic and the speed at which you guys do it. I'm real impressed with it.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And Captain, you forgot that he's almost there for his PhD. He's not a doctor yet, but he's almost like a doctor.
He's a physician's assistant. Someday he'll be a doctor.
He's working on it. So Kinetics, why don't you give everybody kind of the 5 minute elevator pitch here on what FanForge is, what it's doing, and I already gave a little brief snippet, but let everybody know what we're doing here, and then we'll give everybody a chance to introduce themselves and chat.
Yeah, absolutely. So FanForge is a curated platform for digital rights management for creators to be able to come here, show off some of their creative abilities. We've got an audio drama dropping next week called Strange Highways, and that is headed up. Yep, absolutely. Yep, absolutely. And that is headed up by Mickey. What is Mickey's last name again, Joe?
Mickey Nielsen.
Nielsen. I kept wanting to call him Nelson. So Mickey Nielsen and Samwise Didier, with some great
Didier.
What's Didier? That's right. It's French. My bad. So with the French,
think he's Viking, bro. Have you seen him?
He looks Viking, doesn't he?
He's freaking dude. Yeah, he's.
If anyone knows anything about the Diablo and Warcraft and World of Warcraft and StarCraft, they know who Sam Didier is. So Samwise, I should say. So Samwise, yeah, they've put together and Mickey's an award-winning author as well. And so they've put together the Strange Highways audio drama. They want to drop specific episodes, and each NFT will be one of the main characters of that episode, and you get access to the actual story as well. So we've put together FanForge as a way for creators to come show off their content as well as their artwork, and then potentially even raise money through these NFTs and through these marketplaces. And I'll get to what FanForge is and isn't here in just a second. But with this opportunity, they'll be able to go on and build bigger and better IPs or expand on the IPs that they're launching on FanForge. So it's a great way for people who have a great idea, great artwork for stories to come here and tell those stories. Now, these guys have a lot of connections outside of the blockchain realm. They've got connections with movie studios, they've got connections with publishers. And so we want to be able to start to bring that curated content over here to not, it's kind of a double whammy. So they show the rest of the world what PulseChain is, and we show them the power of the blockchain and how their artwork and their stories can be told using the blockchain. We saw Richard Hart not too long ago put the Raven on the blockchain. We're going to start putting other stories on the blockchain as well, guys. We're going to give you guys access, and your access will be allowed through the NFTs that are coming out. So we're bringing some big names over here, and then they're going to bring exposure to PulseChain as well as bring other big names over. So FanForge is not like a Mintra or an NFT on Pulse or an OpenSea. We're not going to be a marketplace in that regard. We're just going to be almost a launch pad, so to speak, for content and stories from legitimate artists and storytellers. And we're also going to have an indie division as well. So I think that's a good short synopsis of what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's a decentralized way to bring actually content from real artists, real communities, real game dev, film, all the rest of that to a decentralized blockchain to actually bring the molding of what we all believe as real DeFi for all to the storytellers out there, to the writers, to the entertainment, and that's film and game. That's creative directors or even novelists that want to bring this to a platform that also brings the digital collectible aspect. Solo's huge into that ecosphere, and actually I've learned a lot from him over the years, being a good friend, about the things that I didn't think about from something like Spider-Man 1 or any type of collectible, and how the rarity we can actually use the infrastructure that we have to move forward.
Yeah. So Joe, you were instrumental. You've got the connection with Kool-Aid here, and you were instrumental in bringing this team together on all aspects. It was quite a networking feat as far as I'm concerned. And I think it was really cool. Thanks for bringing us this opportunity. But you've got a lot of years in character development, and you've got a lot of years in that industry, and you know all these gentlemen. And I'd like you to be able to take a moment to kind of tell us why you think something like this with that kind of pedigree coming to PulseChain is so important.
Yeah, thank you, Ken, and thank you, everybody. Thank you for RG for having me on the stream. One thing I do want to say, just because it capped at the beginning, I have never worked personally for Blizzard Entertainment. I've worked for companies, sister companies that have been born from them specifically, but I have never personally worked there, but I have worked for Activision. So I've worked for Activision. I've worked for Skydance Interactive, which is part of Skydance Productions. They make the new Mission Impossible film. I've worked for Sony. So I've worked for some big AAA places. And the reason I've worked for those places, gotten into the industry, is because I'm a big fan of like genre and like pop culture entertainment. That's from comic books to trading cards, omnibus. That's a nerdy term for comic book people. DVDs, animes, like movies, all of these things. So for me, what I think blockchain has needed and what I've been looking for as somebody who is a collector in the analog space is like a digital equivalent, like actual products. I see a lot of people sort of just making pictures and things, and that's great. Like I think there's a great place for that. But what I want to see is actual collectability hit the blockchain. I want people to buy a product on the blockchain and not really care about the resellers market. They have an intrinsic value to it sentimentally, right? So for us creating FanForge and releasing an audio drama, as opposed to say just an image, and having all of that like attached to a blockchain and PulseChain, I think is really important because that's an actual digital product, right? That's a product that you're only going to get access to with our specific NFT. So if you go and you sell that on the resellers market, you may not have access to things associated around that audio drama, other digital collectibles we could give you. You might lose access to some other things. And that to me adds a stickiness that is in the analog world that is very interesting to me. Because what I want to do is I want to go out and I want to buy something from an artist, not because I want to resell it, but because I think that artist is awesome. And the fact that that might go up in value one day just makes it even cooler to me, because I can go, I have this original Spider-Man #1 and it's worth $1 million and I'm never going to sell it because I love Spider-Man, right? And I love comic books. And, or maybe I do plan to sell it, but it's more of a retirement plan, or maybe it's generational wealth, right? Maybe I want to hand it down to my kids. And what's cool is with entertainment, it's not just like a banking asset. It's a lot of times it's something you can look at, listen to, feel, and hold. You know, that's why people still like objects, right? So if you can have those kinds of products in the digital world, I'm all for it. That's really awesome to me. I would love to be a part of something where Samwise Didier is releasing original content and I get to buy that and own that, and it lives on forever the way the collectibles on my shelves do, you know? So that's kind of what has gotten me interested. And the idea that if you can find the right audience, you can kind of, you can test out your IP, right? Say you have an audience and you have an idea and you're not sure like if they're going to support you or not. Well, with our platform, if we've curated you and we've shown your things, you might get an audience that gives you an inclination that maybe your IP is going to be popular, right? And that's really good for you. And maybe it gives you some early funding so you can start seeding yourself, right? And start building your own business without looking for investors and things. You know, that's a big barrier for everybody right now, is finding publishing money or trying to prove to a company that your IP will raise money, right? And with something like this, you know, with our audio drama, maybe that can help prove to a publisher that we can make a video game or a board game or some other expansion, you know, action figures, things, because you have actual historical data tied to, you know, a digital ledger that they can see. Nothing is hidden. That's all pretty amazing to me. I think that opens up a lot of different things for creators personally.
Yeah, I agree. That's in the analog world, there's not really any proof to scarcity, just that how many of whatever is on the market that are people are trying to sell.
Right.
And now we have a digital representation of scarcity, and we can actually verify just how scarce it is. And that's one of the beauties of the blockchain. And I agree, Joe. That's one thing that's part of why I've actually embraced NFTs. For the longest time, I didn't think I was going to be an NFT guy. And then I saw some dank art and I saw some cool stories. And I said, you know what? Actually, there's something to this. And there's future use cases, especially in the finance realm, using NFTs. But if we can get legit creators like Samwise and Mickey to come onto the blockchain and start to publish things here, since that's what a blockchain is, it's a library. And so if we can get them to come tell their stories here, then I think not only is it more engaging for the outside world to want to understand blockchain, but it also gives us that digital scarcity, and it also gives us exposure over here on the PulseChain side.
And
yeah.
And did you say something, Joe, about original art that Samwise was going to do? Did you mention that?
Yeah, so we can talk about that a little bit. So Strange Highways is going to have a release schedule, and there's going to be multiple episodes. Quite a few of these episodes have actually been completed. And originally, our team of artists, which is our core team at FanForge, myself and James, we're going to be making some of these cards. But Samwise actually let us know that he wants to be the one to make the original artwork for each episode release. So
Sweet.
each
That's
NFT is going to be coming with a piece of brand new artwork that's never before been seen or released ever by Samwise himself, and he's super excited to do it.
Yeah.
It's
That's
amazing.
cool.
It's super
I
amazing.
got
Do we want to go ahead and show the sizzle trailer?
real quick. Let me pull something up real quick here. Boom. I'm gonna share this real quick, just to show everybody, just so that you know kind of who and what Samwise's artwork looks like. He is like the tradition. He's the guy that created kind of the World of Warcraft look. His fingerprints are all over Blizzard. Like, these are some of his works, some of the things he does. But my favorite here, let's see if I can pull it up. I want to show you guys something that's really, really cool. Shoot, where is it? Yeah, there we go. Oh, I just lost it. I'll figure it out. But anyway, gosh, I'll let you go ahead and pull up the video, and I'll rip this down and see if I can find what I was looking for.
Yeah, no worries.
That's just some of his works and what the gentleman does.
All right, let me see. Share screen. Do you have to do anything tricky to share audio? Just through the tab?
Just make sure you hit that.
A Wild SJ's already got pulled up, so we're gonna go ahead and pull it up here. Go ahead, SJ, whenever you're ready.
Midnight in Texas ain't quiet. Midnight in Texas ain't quiet. Be it the critters in the desert bush, the guzzling hogs that patrol the long, endless roadways, or hell, this sorry son of a bitch right here, dangling by his neck, full of holes, bruises, broken bones, beat on, pissed on, shit on, stabbed, shot, and hung by a rope off this here trellis bridge and left for dead. Yeah, that's Texas for you.
Strange Highways, coming soon.
Very cool.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
It makes me so happy.
This right here is my favorite picture. Look, check out this man's keyboard. Look at it. Like, that's an artist keyboard right there.
You don't understand. It's actually the truth. I just ordered a new keyboard because I'd rubbed off the nubs on my F and my J, and I'd literally scrolled away that half the letters aren't gone. So I'm not paying attention, and I don't even know where my fingers are because I've already rubbed that stuff off. Yeah, that's real. That stuff is 100.
I mean, it just shows you the blood, sweat, and tears and work that goes into this thing. That looks like my boots. You know what I mean? That just reminds me of what my boots look like at the end of about 6 months.
That screams crunch time.
It is. Well, it's a lifestyle to do this kind of art, and the beauty of what we're trying to do is we're bringing out of, let's just say, the corporate parent company phenomenon that happens with all of film, with all of entertainment, and the contracts and all the rest that you have to deal with. And, you know, to Solo's point of view, I've got a signed Pip-Boy by Todd Howard. I just happened to be at work and he happened to be in my pit. And I'm just like, you want to sign my Pip-Boy? I'm never going to sell that. It's mine because we were there, because we worked in it. And it's something it could be expensive, but it doesn't matter because it came from my experience in history. And we want to bring that to everyone as both content creators, myself, Solo, Samwise, Paul Lamone, all the rest of those that do our job, and connect those to the fans that want to get to know those people better, because this is a middleware that you don't have to go through the bloat of having an Activision, a Sony, a ZeniMax, a Microsoft, or all those other parent companies. And it puts the creators up front and next to their fans. And especially with the different ways that we can drop or have multi-sequential ways for their art and processes to be released. I'll have Joe go through more of the process and that kind of stuff. He's got some awesome ideas.
Well, it's something that I've seen just from working with you guys, you know, watching the hours that you put in, and for all the years that I've been with you, Kool-Aid, and watching you, you know, exhaustively work and, you know, sleep for a day or two at a time and then stay up for 3 days at a time and, you know, work and then finding more of you. Like, I thought you were an anomaly at first. Like, oh, no, my friends just.
You thought I was lying until Solo told you that.
He's just crazy. He's just off his rocker. And then I started meeting all these other guys, and they're like the same. They're cut from the same cloth. They're all beat the hell up. They're the industry. I'm not going to blame the industry or the big names or whatever. I mean, corporations are corporations, period. They have to do things the way they do them because there's shareholders involved. But what I see is that the struggling work that you guys do. I mean, and then you are artists, so you guys are married to your work, you know, heart and soul, not only just physically, but your heart and soul is married to your work. And so you guys have this kind of, you know, aura about you and what you guys do. And then this corporate structure takes you and tries to squeeze all of the blood out of you, and they just wreck you. Like, you guys are all just beat the shit up, man. And to see you guys, how happy all of you are. I mean, from Paul and yourselves, to be so happy to be doing your own thing and to be able to curate your own work and to be able to put it out there and offer others to be able to jump in and do their own thing. To see the excitement that you guys have for it and the desire to go out and do it for others. I mean, that's cool in and of itself, watching it kind of unfold. So that's a whole nother story behind this. Let me say thanks to a couple people. So Zenith just said that somebody gifted him. So thanks for the $5, bro. Somebody gifted him a membership. And so looks like he's gifted 3 separate memberships. Thank you, Zenith. Appreciate that, man.
MT Coiner throwing one out there as well. Good on you guys.
I'm sorry, MT Coiner too.
Yep.
And let's look at this as an example. It's a membership over here at DS, but what we're trying to do is build that kind of system for all global entertainment under an umbrella where the creators, the authors, and all the rest of it can gift their process. Gift, whether it's an airdrop on a whip or however we can want to handle it. We want to bring back and give back to the community, just like they did there with the DS membership. We want to really bring and rope that back into all creatives and all entertainment as well.
Nice.
Our
other two gentlemen haven't spoken.
We didn't speak much to Paul Limon. He's also an original guy from Blizzard, from the art department. He was the creator of Tyrael from Diablo 1. And man, if only he'd had royalties for that character alone, right, guys? So
right.
he's another member of our team. Go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. Yeah, keep rolling.
And okay. Paul's been working really hard at putting all this together and making it all happen. He's kind of been like the glue to putting the two teams together, making it all work. So
yeah.
we'll get to talk to him on Wednesday.
Yeah, Paul, you know, it's really interesting. You kind of mentioned this. I feel like in some way, if you really trace it, everybody is like a piece of glue. We're really more chains on a chain link than anything, because it starts like this. Larry gives me a phone call, and then I meet all of you, and then I go and I make some phone calls, and all of a sudden you're talking to people like Paul, we're talking to people like Samwise, and all of a sudden we have a website, and all of a sudden we have artwork, all of a sudden we have a plan. And really what it just came down to is, you know, it's like when luck meets opportunity, right? I think when those like start things coming across, and
preparation meets opportunity.
Preparation beats opportunity, yeah. And so that's what it is. And so
that's what's called luck.
That's right. There it is. And really, this is something that is almost in some ways been maybe building for like 20 years, whether we all knew it or not, across our various experiences, right? So, you know, Paul actually gave me my first job out of college. I met Paul in an apartment at a painter's house, and he saw me my first and second year of college as a pleb, as the crypto people call it, as a pleb in art. He watched me graduate, and he gave me some of my first bit of freelance working on Stargate. And I've been working for Paul off and on for the last 16 years. And the reason I was working for him is, you know, he worked for Blizzard for a number of years. They shipped World of Warcraft, and himself, Mark Kern, Rue, they all left, and they all formed their own sister companies. They formed MMO companies and advertising companies and companies that made PSP games. You know, all of these people went and tried their shot outside of Blizzard, and Paul's just one of those serial entrepreneurs, and I've been trying to help him out where I can, and we've always wanted to team up for something. And, you know, him and Samwise have been friends for years, and they just wanted to do something with this IP, right? They just really wanted to do something with this IP, and we all want a voice. And to be honest, I feel that the crypto The blockchain industry right now is looking for products like these. They're looking for people with voices. They're not just looking for tech people anymore. They're looking for artists. They're looking for writers. They're looking for directors. They're looking for entrepreneurs with real businesses, right? And so this is a space where people are encouraging innovation. They're encouraging you having original voice, and they're actually looking at you. There's actually less noise and friction here to break through than the traditional path. And so when you just look at that, it's like, how could we all not sort of link out and at least try this, right? Is kind of where I'm going with that point. It would be almost irresponsible not to, in a way, right? You know, I told this to Roy earlier. I feel like in some ways we're in a giant stadium full of people and they're waiting for somebody to come on stage and play, right? Like they're just like the amphitheater is full. They're waiting to be entertained. And I'm hoping FanForge, what we release, and the platform we give to other creators to release provides that entertainment, right? And it's more than just memes. I mean, and maybe we have some memes. I don't know. Like I'm not gonna count them out. I won't talk shit on the memes, but maybe we can also, you know, get some film directors in here. Maybe we can get an IP like Stargate, right? Like maybe we can start small and start really snowballing into something like much bigger and give a little bit more use case and utility to this blockchain that we all like so much, right?
And that's the beauty of it. If mostly done through parent company and investment and all the rest of that manipulate us. You know, when I was working on Prey, we didn't call it Prey to the very, very end. When the parent company says we own this 4-letter word, you will be called Prey. After 4.5 years grinding on that game, we got the flack for just that. You know, we should have named it something else, but it wasn't our choice. Whereas this is the choice of the creators. Like the creators actually have a voice here to forge their fans and their fans to forge their creators unilaterally. And like Solo was saying, like this is what this type of medium from entertainment is built for. And this opportunity is absolutely amazing. If you watch the video, do you want to, if someone want to, SJ, you want to post the video in the YouTube link so you can watch it later. When I saw this AI generated stuff, I knew it was composited, but I didn't understand how, because I still hadn't got to that point of understanding how interactive AI along with creativity can do this. And I was completely blown away. I've never seen anything like it before. And then some of the stuff that Solo is doing now is even just as nuts. And this is not only the fruitful time to embrace not only this kind of tech, but to use this kind of tech for creators such as all of us in the game dev industry or the film industry or the writing guild or all the rest of that to now embrace all these opportunities that we have in a decentralized fashion without overlords, masters, and parent company to parent company to parent company, that if a budget of one happens, 5 studios go under, or they just sell off the whole brick of us, like what happened from ZeniMax over to Microsoft.
Well, to piggyback on that point, now we're given the opportunity for people with unique stories and unique artwork to be able to launch, to be able to sell you guys an insight to something that's never been seen before, have a digital scarce representative of it that can be a collectible later, but also provide them funding to continue building and continue writing and to continue creating new stories for all of us to enjoy without ever needing the permission of Legendary or Skydance or any of these big production houses to actually bring you a story. We can do it all in a decentralized manner now.
And not only that, it's also the right management itself for those creators to manage their own IPs and to actually have rights to their own artwork and to actually authentically be able to transfer it, sell it, have royalties. Like all of these things, we've never had the ability. And those of us that are on the creative side, we are slave to the system. However, we love what we do. So we put our time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears into the coliseum of doing what we do. And now we've got that chance to not only do it for ourselves, but maintain ownership, which is, I know, one of the biggest things that Solo was talking about is the digital rights management side, where it's not just an image loosely located on a blockchain. It's something that can be tracked, something that can be managed, something that can become scarce, and something that can be utilized to transform into something else.
Just 1 second, guys. We have a guest that showed up, and I'm sure she's coming in here to ask some questions. She's one of the smarter. She's not just somebody showing up, so she's one of the smarter members of our community, and she's a developer. So I'm going to bring her up now.
She's much better to look at than us guys. So
you know what, and that's what I was saying. I was going to put her in the center of the screen because much easier on the eye than all of us guys. Ladies and gentlemen,
even you, Joe. Even you, Joe.
Bro, what's happening?
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing? Good to see you.
Can you hear me? Woo.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
You're
can.
sounding great. You're sounding great.
Thanks for having me. I was just gonna pop in the chat. I'm like, come, and then Kool-Aid, come on up. Like, all right, right on, man. Cool. Hi, guys.
Hey, it's good to see you.
So she's one of us. So give a little bit of your pedigree. We kind of escaped out of game dev, but I won't let you go.
Okay. I used to be an animator, and it's been a few years, but I worked at it was a place called Black Point Studios. I worked at a few different places, but usually what I did was kind of be it sort of tertiary startup-ish art houses that would deal with either something that a bigger company would have to get finished at a specific time. Like we worked with Midway. We did a lot of facial animation on the Mortal Kombat games. Some of the stuff for SmackDown for, THQ, and what else we do. But it was a very startup sort of atmosphere. So you'd go in there and you'd be like, okay, I'm an animator and also rigging, and I have to figure out face robot and all of this stuff. So it's kind of cool about that atmosphere is the less people you have, the more stressful it is because you actually have that weight on your shoulders.
Yeah.
The boss would be like getting everyone drinks is like, hey, I don't have money or time to hire anyone else. You guys need to figure out how to do this specific thing before the 31st, So even if you didn't know how to do anything, you damn well were doing like a research at the end of the night, figuring it out. So
Yep.
That was a long time ago. I actually ended up, I did animation, mostly just game art and general game art stuff, graphic design, animation, some rigging and all of that. And I stopped doing it because I started mining Bitcoin. And that's when I was mining Bitcoin and I was doing some trading on BTCE, and I realized what I was making was just way more than the other people in the cubicle. And I was like, I'm getting to the point where I'm trading at work. Like, all right, I love working with you guys, but I got to focus on this. And I kind of left out, but that's my story. So
we were just talking with Paul the other day, and he says he misses the days, and James was saying the same too. They miss the days to some degree where they used to do it all. You had a limited art department, and you guys had to do it all before the big production houses came in and became big and started throwing people out on the street. I know Joe has something to say about this.
Yeah, really, you actually hit on something that I was talking to RG earlier today, and it's weird, but once you learn it, it makes either transitioning out of the game industry or accepting the game industry easier. It's easier to make money than it is to make money working in games. Like if you want to go make money, if you try and do it in video games, you will notice that it's actually extremely hard. It's much harder than just going out and trying to make money. It's a very strange thing. And I'm wondering, I haven't been in film except tangentially, but I imagine it's probably a very similar thing. It's probably easier to make money than it is to make money in film, right? Like as an on the line person,
as a compositor, yeah.
Too. So yeah, exactly. And I know exactly what you were doing. It's so funny. I have friends who do all that face stuff and everything. And yeah, and it's nonstop work. You're doing R&D for no money. You're doing the most high level work in the world for no money, and then going home and banging your head against trying to learn it. So yeah, that's the whole industry though. And it's not that's kind of always how it's been, and it's still how it is. And even now, I learned Stable Diffusion in like 4 days so I could start producing artwork so we could do stuff, right? Like that's still
and then you're looking for the extensions and it's nothing but YIF, and you're like, ah, damn it, like of course they're doing better than everything else. I can't use this for what I need it for.
Exactly. So oh my goodness, yeah, nothing's changed, just so you know. It's exactly the same.
Well, you guys aren't just you guys aren't just doing nowadays with Stable Diffusion. You guys aren't just doing prompts. Like you guys are straight directing the process. So people have a misunderstanding of AI art compared to what you guys are doing.
100.
Yeah, and you know, this is going to get into so at FanForge, what we're going to do is we're going to be selling this audio drama, and we're also going to be selling a membership card, which was generated. The image was generated in-house, and it's going to give you access to things. And some of those things we're going to give you access to some exclusive content, which we may preview, which includes sort of how we go about making these things. And any 2D image that you see myself or another in-house artist generate actually goes through a series of like directed processes. From having to sculpt in ZBrush to having to render out passes and making sure those are set up appropriately in a node work, to then getting to a prompt mostly to sort of fill in the detail. It's actually not prompt, please give me photo. This is proportional changes, stylization. A lot of these things are handled by hand very quickly, in a way, but by hand by us, and we allow sort of AI to come in and sort of finish off what we're doing a little bit. It's a much more artistic process. It's actually more akin to modeling and texturing now. So now currently I model something, I give it UVs, and I take it into a program that essentially textures it for me. Substance Painter just sort of puts a material on it for me. AI is doing a very similar thing to my artwork. It's filling in all the details. And not to go on a tech tangent, but I would argue that I could probably, with a programmer, get AI to texture all my work with triplanar projection. I don't think we ever need to texture again, but that's neither here nor there. So what I'm hoping to do is for us to drop exclusive NFTs that are that show processes, give exclusive access to videos that show processes. I recorded the whole process of making our card from the concept sculpt all the way to putting the renders in and everything. And I want to show that AI is really just more of my assistant. It's more of my Jarvis, but I'm really the mind, or James is really the mind, or Kool-Aid is the mind that's driving everything that we present to everybody. And I think it's really going to blow people's mind just how much work we're actually putting in, and how much love and how much more soul it gives AI than just typing in a prompt.
Yeah, it's that hand curated thing. And like one of Solo's good friends and another one of in-house artist, James, he's got a decade on us. Like he was basically animating in the Unreal tournament in what, 90, 93, 94, something like that.
99, 98, 99. Wall running and wall jumping was James Edwards. He invented that, and he implemented it, and he animated it. I mean, and he's on
Shinobi.
That's right. He's the man. And he was my mentor. You know, I've been working with him off and on for 16 years, but he's the one who taught me everything I know. So,
yeah. It's just wild how it all folds back onto each other. And by embracing the tech, whether it's blockchain, AI, and all the rest of that, we can keep our artistic vision forward rather than suffering in silence because everything passes us by. Nobody paints textures. You know, they're use PBR and all the rest of that fun stuff. And, you know, Hardpearl down there actually writes HLSL shader code, right? You know what I mean? Like it's just wild to now be able to use another middle wetware to get in there and create your artistic vision without needing not just the whole production studio of a whole team, but actually lock that in as a financial asset and history and tradable, unlockable ability, almost like a Patreon, if you will, or anything of that other type of nature, but so much more fundamentally financially sound and exclusively sound than one side or the other.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys just ran me right through the nerd gauntlet, man. I am just beat the hell up right now. Keep going, though. Keep
You're
going.
learning so much, Cap.
Yeah,
You're doing good.
I mean, or it's honestly like accidentally discovering like a Batman #1. You know, like when Walking Dead came out, nobody knew that was going to be a hit.
Yeah.
And now if you have that #1, like that thing's worth so much money. And that's what I think we can do here. We have a chance to re-roll, and I think AI helps that, right? Because when it comes to commercial art, and this is kind of like commercial art and fine art are separate for a reason, and it's really about what you're trying to communicate and why, right? Like a lot of the hangups that I see people have, I don't necessarily have based on certain processes, but also based on what we're trying to do. Like if I'm trying to paint a painting in oil, I'll paint a painting in oil. But if I'm really trying to make an animated film or a 30-second animated ad, and I want to make it quickly and cheaply, it's probably best to use the simplest, easiest tools possible, as opposed to like reinventing the wheel every time, which is sort of what games has been making you do. So AI assistance to me is actually a godsend, because it'll go, okay, cool, I can communicate my vision now quickly. I can let the market decide whether it likes it. And if it does, I can see returns even from a reseller's market if it's tied to like a digital ledger with royalties. That's pretty awesome. I don't know how it gets much better.
I think Hodpril's getting pretty giddy down there. He's like, yes, this is right up my alley.
Drink. Also, I think I don't remember any one time where I'm either like, I was either unwrapping UVs or texturing or whatever, or I'm just like, I wish this could take longer than it's taking. And so when people, because I started doing AI really early, like with the Stable Diffusion, and I actually have a Midjourney account too, just because it's awesome if you need something really quick. But Stable Diffusion, you have more control over it, and you can also train your own set of things if you know how to have a few pictures or whatever, and go and label it with text. Like you actually have to train the AI in whatever style you want it to have. So you can do that with Stable Diffusion and stuff. You don't have that control in any of these like proprietary things you pay monthly for.
No, you don't. And like you can make, I think they're like LoRa's or whatever. And
the LoRa's and what else was it called? It's been a little while since I did it, but there are sites where you can, download even, other people's artistic style or whatever. And by the way, with rated X stuff, you can't do that on Midjourney, or you can't really do anything on Faces. And a lot of artists make a lot of money on that, right? That's not to be, discarded. So they have to train their own LoRa's, right? Yeah. Or train their own, what's the word? It's the
models.
The models. They have to train their own models. And I trained one on some anime characters, and it actually ended up really good, which is surprising. But when you train your own models, it's really important because you can also put a Boolean negative in there. So you can say what you don't want it to do and specify what that means. So that's really important when it comes to Stable Diffusion and stuff like that. But overall, when it comes to like what you were saying, some people are saying, AI isn't art. AI, I wish it would disappear. It has no soul. And it's like, if you've had to populate a scene or texture a bunch of stuff, you know exactly what you want your end result to be. The only thing that stops you in that is just the grind of how damn long it takes to paint it all. So if there's any sort of shortcut to that, it's still under your control.
No, they said the calculator was going to mess up school and mathematics. So.
Hey, TI-82 had not only Snake, but it had Drug Wars. Those were great days back in the day. But the whole thing, kind of like the tip what Solo and Hotpro were saying, is that you're embedding your own metadata into your own profile, which then you're executing your own style. So like if you wanted to theoretically be Dolly and you had Dolly, or let's say a Bansky, he now can program his own DNA into something that he's building as embed metadata on his own large language model for an ideal, a global profile, or just a project. So like when I start a Pinterest up at work, I build a new Pinterest page and I train it for our project. So that way I can get that rapid shot data, because I'm a shot guy in architecture, that it automatically knows what I want to see when I'm looking for that creative inspiration to get it. So I know what I want to build, and then I build it. And we're now getting that Edipath, that embedded metadata in a profile from AI, can also theoretically, with what we're building here with FanForge later on down the line, has that embedded data in that NFT that can unlock many different idioms on how we want to perceive that in the future. And we got a Kinetics daughter in there. Hi.
Yeah. Hey, real quick in the chat, we got OGs in the chat. We got Cabana Crypto. Good to see you, buddy, showing up. We got Brissology, our favorite little guy friend. Tam's in there. Who else? I saw somebody else jump in here. Compassion, Crypto Compassion. So we've got some hitters coming into the chat room and hanging out. Good to see you guys. Dr. Derp and Dr. J, would you guys like to, give yourselves a little introduction so everybody just knows that you're not just like good looking faces
Sitting
here? Yeah.
Doctor.
People might remember me from before. The guy that sounds like Buscemi. And then I used to do the streams with Wales, the macroeconomic stuff. But I guess my position for this is community manager, right? Helping kind of wrangle everyone together and set forth on the path to the right direction. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
And has helped us many times in the past on some very difficult projects and things that we've worked on, and a proud member of the team for sure.
He's selling himself short. Guy's a genius at building communities. Huge followings with other channels. He's put together. He's sold. A lot of you guys may remember him from 2017. Good old BitConnect Davercoin days, way back when everyone was involved in those things. Every crypto influencer was doing that. Built some huge communities. Like I said, sold some big communities. Just an absolute monster when it comes to newsletters and doing the research to find different content. Can I talk about WM Maximus? Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. So anyway, the guy's a wealth of knowledge with so many different things and just an absolute workhorse. He's the only one I know that can rival Kool-Aid with getting things done. Yeah. Well, I was going to say getting things done in a 24-hour period. So yeah, we're absolutely stoked to have him on here. Yeah.
100%. Thanks, guys.
And Dr. Derp.
The many names, Doctor.
The man who lets you see everything. That's who he really is. He lets you see everything.
That's right.
Lay it out there.
So I am brand and design. So I didn't come up with the name, but the logo above, I designed that. Pat on back. So I just help out with the glitter, not the glue, but the glitter. That's what I do here. That's my job.
Yep.
And like usual, selling himself short.
Yeah, so, I was gonna say same thing.
Eventually, he creates like the logos and a lot of the branding pieces to everything that we're doing with FanForge and beyond, and it's absolutely incredible. Like the turnaround speed, and then ability to be able to hone in on like what's the theme, what's the core message, right, of the thing. And so, just quick side note is we're looking to try and integrate a lot of that into this project and other projects moving forward, because to show that process, I think is really cool. Like from taking something, he starts at sketch and takes it all the way through to black and white and then to color and, final resolution and everything to make it pretty big and small. But yeah, that whole process is I think really cool to see, because you don't see a lot of guys doing that now, because there is tools like AI and things like that. It's kind of eliminating a lot of that old craft. And I personally love that. So anyway.
And he nails it. Like he nails it. Like when we have our meetings and we're looking at things and somebody throws this idea, that idea, and hey, can we do it? And boom, all of a sudden he comes up with something that just like, oh shit, that was more than what we expected. Like, and instantly that's
tells the story instantly at first glance. It's instantly. What like the ethos behind what it is we're trying to do with these projects. And he just nails it. Like the FanForge right above him, that's his logo. The lettering, the text, the anvil with the crack in the anvil to signify the S in studios for FanForge Studios. He did the GIF logo on Crypto Kool-Aid's image right there. He did that, the original GIF. A lot of you guys missed this, but if you guys have been looking at GIF and PGIF over the last couple weeks, that is actually a wrench going through the rest of that, through that G there, showing you there's work being done. So this guy just nails. I wish I could talk about some of the other things he's done. Any of you guys have checked out the Pulsar website? That was this guy. So
yeah, and he's
amazing.
Getting ready to work on the PulseChain Tour website, helping us to get that thing.
That's right. That's right.
Good.
Yeah, good.
Juggle. That's all I do is juggle.
Yeah. And so we got a team here, and there's more players involved. That is just, it's all coming together real nice. I mean, the work that we're getting done. Joe here with his organizational skills in the meetings, bringing everybody together and focusing everybody. Because, when you get a bunch of guys together, especially artists and then crypto freaking geeks, like the conversations can go all over the place. And Joe always keeps us dialed in. What is our mission today? What are we getting done? What is our end result? And let's get out of this meeting so that we're not sitting here freaking circle jerking all day long, which our meetings are very long anyway. But Joe seems to keep them all dialed in. Like, let's get shit done. And it's been very, very efficient. I love that. Thanks, Joe, because I go crazy sitting in there all the time with these guys.
He goes crazy in the work meetings that we've had to deal with before, because he's like, come on, I can do this in 30 seconds. Why do we got to talk about it for 4 hours? And it's the pedigree of like some of the people that all of us have worked with forever. We wanted to get to this point where we can do this kind of stuff, because a lot of us people that have been here 10 years have a very particular set of skills, and we just need the freedom to be able to do it and create it and get it done without all the red tape and all the shenanigans that just come with the term ship it or fix it in post of your film, and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And that's what we want to bring to the table, to say, as well as evolve it, because we're sitting on an epoch of so much stuff is about to change from the individual's point of view and the creative point of view, that we want to give that opportunity, not just to those of us that work in it, but to the fans that want to help forge it with us and create that and experience it together, like they were in the studio with us doing these kind of things.
Did you just use that rant as an excuse to quote Taken? I'm pretty sure you did.
I didn't say
particular anything. Set of skills. Yes,
that's right. I will find you, and I will not sleep.
Great movie, by the way.
Pretty amazing crossroads that we're at, and bringing life to some of these stories is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. Like, talk about a fast way to test an idea, get, market share, and then be able to expand into maybe a bigger thing that you wanted to do, or bringing an older story back to life that's been abandoned by the big networks or is locked up in some sort of whatever legal battle, and then gets freed up, and then somebody can acquire that and then bring it to a platform like FanForge. It's going to be absolutely huge. I can't wait to see some of the things.
It is going to be huge. And I think that, what people will come to understand, and what's been great about our team is we're taking things like literally one rung on a ladder at a time down to the type of project we create. There's a lot of game developers. I've been a game developer for 16 years. So has Larry. Paul's been it over for 20. We could start combining all these numbers, and you would go, why don't you just go and try and make an $80 million game? And you're like, because I don't want to lose $80 million. I don't want to hire 300 people. I don't want to have all these meetings and all these things where at the end of the day, no product ships, right? With blockchain, with this group of people, it allows everything to start small and build up once again. And it also allows you to always have, for instance, you're not going to get everybody's email who buys your product, but if they buy your digital product that's tied to a ledger, we'll always be able to drop NFTs to those wallets, right? To those people who bought those things, and we'll always be able to expand our IPs, and you don't really get that in the analog space. So, for instance, something that's an audio drama today could end up being a skin in a game that doesn't exist for another 20 years. But because the tech is still there, you're like, hey, remember those strange Highways audio dramas you had NFTs to? Guess what? If you still have that old thing and didn't sell it like a dummy, well, Strange Highways turned into an MMO, and guess what? You get free skins. That's cool. You don't have that with anything else in the analog world. My action figures don't get better, right? Like my comic book doesn't net me a movie, right? Like it doesn't do that. We have the ability to do that. We also have the ability to grow our projects at our own pace. Today it's an audio drama. Maybe tomorrow it's something else, and maybe that leads to some other thing. But, not every creator needs to just go diving into these giant $80 million projects anymore.
Exactly.
Right? They just don't need to.
Not to mention, how can you give stuff for free in the analog world to all the people that have bought your items before, but
Exactly.
on a blockchain, we have these things called airdrops. Wouldn't it be nice if a company loved its people so much it was willing to drop them free value just
right.
just for enjoying the entertainment they're already participating in?
Well,
Yeah,
And wouldn't it be great to know that the people that are making these drops are not just people typing in prompts randos? They're actual artists with pedigree from, you know, real places, from worked on IPs that you actually know. Wouldn't that be awesome?
well, even like take a look at that trailer video. That is a moving cinematic AI experience, right? That is like just the picture is just the tip of the iceberg. The technically wrapper of the NFT, because we can talk about the membership card as well as the NFT drop, because that's actually two different components that work in tandem together. But as you own a portion of the start of something, as it goes from an idea, a sketch, a gesture, into possibly a feature film, you have what I've always saber out in is you have prestige. You have first access. You basically have red carpet to this particular thing, whether that's the user generated content, that could be, we can dive into that stuff later, or the actual content behind the scenes, the director's cut. It's setting the stage of what a real NFT should be as a wrappable substrate of multiple gears of metadata. That metadata can be traded, it could be liquidity pooled, it could be used as an upgrade for other things. This is we're sitting on that precipice where only a couple people got together and made the original Doom or, you know, the other original things. But now all of this is coming full focus and frustrum back into how do not just your user content that you get has the ability to get curated, but maybe you get more exclusive networking with a particular set of individuals, like MidConnect to that Gary's talking about. It's another different way that people are binding networking. It's so much more than just LinkedIn. You're actually getting a LinkedIn system to your creators. It's so much more than GoFundMe or any of the rest of the type of platforms that we see, that those products never come out. With this stuff, it's actually there. Like, this is done. This isn't bloat vaporware. Like, this stuff is done, and it's setting the MVP for so much more to come. And that's why we're trying to give those creators a platform that they can stand on for themselves.
That's right. And you know what? That's an important thing maybe for everybody listening in, thinking about, like, are you guys trying to raise money to make a project? No, the project is done. We are putting a product up for sale. There will be a membership card that will help you get maybe a better deal or something if you choose to buy it. But in general, we are here to sell real digital products. There will be some exclusivity to things. There will be some of these other things, but this project is done. The episodes are in the can. The voice actors, I think, are interested in doing interviews. Some of the voice actors voices in StarCraft cinematics and things. These are done real projects, and we want to do a season 2. We want to do a season 3. And I'll let Paul give the juicy stuff away, but blockchain is going to allow Paul to have a particular vision with an audio drama that has never been seen before. Imagine an audio drama that is also somehow a game, and that's where I'll leave it, because I'll let him explain it. But the power of blockchain is really going to help drive his vision home. What was just an idea in his head, absent of knowing what blockchain was, has now come to meet up with blockchain, and it's going to allow us to do things that have never been done before. And it's really, really neat stuff. And everything is in place for us to keep going. If you all like the product, we'll keep making it. But it's already ready to go. And some of the artwork that's being created now is brand new, because Sam wants to give you something new. He wants to give you something that you can't get in the Strange Highways book that you can buy on Amazon. He wants to give you something that isn't on his art station. So this is real stuff. This is real exclusive stuff. It's kind of if you are a collector, or this is kind of an amazing time. I've never seen an opportunity quite like this, to be honest.
Well, let's take what you just said as a data point and one step backwards from what we've seen before. Red versus blue. How did that turn into Rooster Teeth and turn into an entire film studio off of some machinima, is what it was called back in the day, of just people walking around in controllers and making some content before the meme was the meme? and old stuff back in the day that turned into a huge industry. Unfortunately, RIP Rooster Teeth. But that's the whole problem with this whole thing, is that those of us creators that push it so far, it suddenly folds and breaks back on itself. But if that content creator could have maintained the authenticity and identity of that product, it would have the legs to move forward. But yeah, like Joe was saying, like next week, Paul's going to bring the very interesting things, and just seeing what he's done is just wild.
Well, here's what's extremely cool about what I'm seeing here, and that is Crypto Stylist just jumped in. A Crypto Stylist, Corrito, good to see you. So she helped introduce us early on in the early days of Hex to Web3 designers, content creators, artists. They were all ready. They were all ready to put this content out, but every time they reached for a blockchain to support their projects, it failed. Those blockchains failed them. They couldn't get their projects launched. There wasn't anything worth the shit out there. The Ethereum network was too expensive to launch these things and work these projects. And even though I traveled the world talking to these people and saying, "Hey, PulseChain's coming." PulseChain didn't come, but now PulseChain's here. And when we connected with the other team here, they were already ready to go. So these Web3 projects are ready for prime time. They've just been waiting for a blockchain that can support it. And here we are. PulseChain is here. So now you're going to see, and this is the first iteration of seeing the two married, seeing PulseChain and the art world that's ready to go Web3 coming together with professionals. I mean, the top people in the industry are now here and going, okay, we've got a project, we want to launch it, and let's be smart about it. Let's put a minimum viable product out there. An audiobook, like this is just scratching the surface, guys. This is just a little bit of what is possible. The sky is the limit now, and PulseChain makes that possible. We need to make sure that we're because of this community, who we are, and the crypto project and products that we support. We got to give props to PulseChain for being here and bringing this stuff to fruition. Web3 is here, and we've been talking about this for years. Like I said, I was traveling the world with Crypto Stylists, and we were, talking to people that were ready. They were ready, but no blockchain. And now here's a blockchain, and now things are getting ready to pop off. So imagine, like Kinetics was talking about, the indie content that we're going to be creating too. Not just, our studio and what we're doing with FanForge, but having that indie content come in, and the possibilities are just endless on what people can bring. So it's going to be real cool to see what happens now.
Yeah. And there's, FanForge is going to be a curated platform for sure. And what that means is, there's a lot of friends that we know, that a lot of other, that you would recognize their names or IPs that they've worked on, and they're, looking for an audience. They're looking for a way to build a company that can start generating revenue to start funding their IP. And, with our success, we want to start bringing our success to those people, and we're going like, look, you're looking for funding for your game. Maybe you could start getting revenue for your IP through us. Here's our historical data, but also myself, Paul, Kool-Aid. We aren't just artists on the line. We've been leads. We started companies. We started small businesses. We're going to be able to shepherd some of these people through any help that they need, any marketing that they need, right? We're going to be able to be sort of a full service package, the likes of which I think people haven't really seen. A lot of companies don't really start with the foundation of having an audience, right? We're really privileged and lucky in that way. FanForge, like, we have the gift of having an audience. So with that gift, we should help other creators, right? And we should help bring their ideas and their new stories and their new ways of telling stories, like, to a blockchain like ours, and start showing actual utility for these things, right? Like, I think that's what PulseChain needs. I think that's what this ecosystem needs. And stuff like Solana and Ethereum, they can't handle it. Solana is down all the time, and Ethereum is going to cost more to mint the NFT than it is going to be to purchase it. Like, that's where we're at with a lot of things now. So, this is just the best. This has been the best way to go. And I think the community here is really strong. This has been one of the strongest and best communities, the Richard Hart community.
Yeah, and on top of that, you also have the ability that we're all kind of starting at the 0 level of PulseChain's inflection before everything runs. And in the entertainment industry, you basically need one primary success to move forward. That's why you basically have publishers that have the funding to guarantee the legs to try to get that success to move forward. And as Solo was saying, like those of us that worked, we have lots of friends, and those friends, they'd be interested in dipping their toe into without understanding how or why, like EA with Origin instead of going with Steam. You need the Steam there first to actually give the ability for all of that to work. And since our model is to give a way for those companies to continue to get royalties, to continue to give access, to continue to connect to their fans, and give them the autonomous ability to be creative rather than having to deal with the parent company business relationships with the content they originally created. It's going to set the stage for other bigger things to move forward and explore this idea, because they're already walking on something that they understand, because we're building it in a shape language that we wish we had when we were doing all of those things.
Hey, real quick, everybody. So this is your show. Discourse Syndicate's FN Hangout has always been for you. The link is in the description. It's in the Twitters. It's in the Telegram rooms, and it is also here in the chat room. So if you want to come in and hang in, ask questions, talk, be part of the show, it's yours to do. So come on in. And let's not be quiet, panel.
I can
honestly talk all day long.
Yeah, no. Actually, like the difference is like, I've been around here for a while, but Hodpro is always one of my faves. But like you two, go geek out and talk about this stuff, because the difference is most people don't understand all the stuff from behind the scenes of game dev. Like again, RG thought I was nuts and crazy and lying about this stuff till like, so I was like, yeah, this is really the craziest industry in the world. But when you forge this stuff and bring it forward, it's wild. So no, Solo and Hodpro, you guys go geek out for a bit.
But all right, geek time.
This is perfect for you guys. This scenario, because we've always heard about blockchain bringing the ability for artists and creators and curators and content developers to be able to have their own way, to get out from under, get the boot off of your neck and go do your thing. And I couldn't imagine a worse place than an artist to be than under the corporate boot. I couldn't imagine what that must be like for an artist. I've always wanted to be an artist, but I'm not. I'm like a bullshit artist, really, is what I am. Yeah, that's good.
That's good. I like that.
I'm a bullshit artist and an evangelist and a peacemaker. That's who I am, a peacemaker. But to see you guys all excited about this and like taking the boot off your neck and going, okay. And we've always heard of the blockchain being able to do that, like, oh, if only, just imagine, and then when all of these ghost chains came out to try and support, what everybody wants, it fell flat, and I want to get it from you guys, from the artist perspective, from, what you guys, because I know you guys heard the same narrative for years. Like, this is going to be the place for you guys to spread your wings and do your thing, and your content is yours and you're going to own it. Do you see this happening now? Do you see what the blockchain now brings to you guys? And is that what's exciting? Is that what's getting you guys feeling like you can spread your wings and you got, a new life from this? Tell me how you're feeling about it, because I'm excited.
I mean, for me, it's about, our industry is at a place now where having an individual voice is hard. And outside of that, games is sort of trying to figure out its identity and sort of this newer world, like where it's going to go, what it's going to do. And what that's done is it's created a lot of like noise. And the noise isn't really about stories or product or artists or anything anymore. It's kind of just noise. And as an artist, I've always wondered, like, how do I cut through the noise? Because I've thought about this my whole life. I play guitar. I've been in bands. I've been in newspaper. I've been in all these like things, and it's always like, well, where's my voice? How do I cut through the noise? And blockchain, honestly, is the first time. I mean, I'm almost 40, where I see a path to me having a real voice. It's the first time that I feel that I've spoken and people have listened to me, from meeting all of you to, the partners that, we've talked to and things that have been happening. It's all just seemed to come together the way it's supposed to. And I think a big part of that is that this industry is still trying to find businesses and people to support it. So there's not a bunch of noise. There's not all this noise of like, they're not trying to keep anything afloat. There's no status quo yet. We have to build the status quo first before you can try to keep it, right? So, and one thing I'll say is I wasn't as attracted to NFTs the way they'd been operating, just because I saw artists getting ripped off. So I'd see artist friends of mine, they'd be told, go mint an NFT on OpenSea, and I'd be like, okay, cool. So you're going to go give OpenSea some Ethereum that you're never going to see again, because nobody knows who you are, and the way they curate the page doesn't help you. And it's really just a place where they take Ethereum from artists, right? That's not really generating NFTs to me, or what the idea of like a digital collectible is to me. What I want to see is real products, and I want to see real products by real people. And I want them to be treated more like products than something to be resold on the blockchain. So the thing that is most interesting and exciting to me is the audio portion. Like, we're not just duct taping a picture to things. We're trying to release an actual piece of audio, an audio file, an episode, and we're tying it to blockchain and NFTs. That's awesome. That's innovative. That's something I can show up for and get behind, because I can sort of understand that as a normie, right? Because the way NFTs have kind of worked is sell this JPEG, make money. And you're like, I don't understand what that is. This is more like, hey, I'm selling you this digital product. Oh, it just so happens you can resell it if you can figure that out. But maybe the normies will never figure that out, right? Maybe they'll just only understand the digital product. And that's great, because that's what they want in the first place. The blockchain part should be behind the scenes. It should be just the tech that they're using. It shouldn't be the thing that we focus on, right? Like right now, a lot of the times, like, you should be focusing on the book you're reading, not how the printing press that made it works, right? And that's kind of what's happening with blockchain. Everybody's so focused on the printing press that it's like you're not even reading the book, and you're like, oh, wait a second, nobody's producing any books. That's why they're so hung up on this printing press. They've got this thing that can produce all these books, but there's no books. We need to create the books, right? Like, we need to create the movies. And we need to do them in a way that it makes sense to tie them to the blockchain and gives people value. I think that the sexiest part of blockchain is the digital rights management stuff. And it's not the corporate stuff. Digital rights management normally means the corporate owns that, they own a license, and they can take it from you whenever they want. That's just corporate digital rights management. I want personal user digital rights management. I want to buy a digital product and be able to know that I own it forever. Nobody can take it from me, that it's not going to be changed, right? Like, blockchain sort of allows you to do all these things and authenticate these things, which I think is a huge deal. But I think that sometimes people want to make it sexier, but I don't think you need to, especially in a world where more and more things are kind of being taken away. I think it's going to be more important than ever that people feel that their digital products are real, because they're not buying physical products, or they're making less physical products, right? Like, if you can't buy a Blu-ray of Casablanca and you can only buy it digitally, well, what if they take that away too? And if it's on blockchain, maybe there's a way to authenticate it, right? Maybe there's a way it keeps it forever. And that is really my interest, is like, how do we actually preserve art? And then how do we create digital art that uses blockchain in a unique way, right? Because analog art can only do so many unique things in the physical world too. That's why digital is amazing, right? Like, you can have spaces transform into other spaces. You can add NFTs, give you access to things that transform into different NFTs, right? And it's almost kind of like magic. And you can create portals and interfaces and AR and VR experiences. I can't do that with a paper comic book. So there's this whole beautiful world that is waiting to be created that settles on blockchain that I want to be a part of creating. And I don't want it to just be duct taping pictures to tokens. What I want it to be is I want my collectibles. I want to know that I own them for life. You know, I'm a collector. If I don't know that I own it, then why am I buying it? You know what I mean? So that's the power here. And I think when artists start understanding what that means, they're going to start flocking to it, and they're going to start, because they're going to be able to communicate to their audiences what is actually happening. Like, do you think my art has value? Do you think I provide value to this world? Like, buy my stuff like you would a painting. You can resell it. You can keep it forever. I can do exclusives. We can do all these things.
I love your vision. I love your vision. And I love you being able to see what this is capable of doing and not what it has been in the past. I want to kind of dovetail from what you were saying earlier. It was a great point. Like, maybe normies will never understand this, but people are too focused on the actual printing press and not the actual books being written. And that's one thing that we figured out at FanForge, by the way, guys. This is kind of a huge point. We didn't really touch on. We didn't touch on it at all earlier, but we have a way to host wallets that they can export to another wallet later on our platform, that normies can come in that love the entertainment. They can buy the digital collectible using a credit card, and the platform automatically mints them, their NFT, in the platform hosted wallet. So this is just another way for normies to get involved and not even see how they don't have to know how the engine works to operate this thing. They can have that digital collectible with the digital scarcity to it, and they can enjoy all the content that's created by these people. And people are on PulseChain and they don't even know they're on PulseChain. It's so seamless, the UI and the interaction and the experience. And I think that's really the one thing that is the killer app for blockchain that people haven't figured out yet. How do people interact with the blockchain and not even know they're interacting with the blockchain?
Exactly.
Well, this is one of those things. This is one of those things that we've built.
So I was just getting ready to say, hey, Kinetics, explain this to everybody, what's going on here, because I think that this is extremely important. Like, one thing that Richard used to say that kind of resonates with what's going on here is Richard would say, I'm going to save them all and get their crypto from them and save them from crypto. And I think that what we can do here is save them all by putting them in crypto without them even know they're getting put into crypto. And I think that's really how mass adoption is going to happen. And then later on, after they realize that they already have a wallet, that they're already interacting with NFTs, that they're already part of the blockchain, and it was that simple, them putting a credit card in, getting content that they want, and boom, now they've got this wallet where things are being dropped to. And they're like, oh, I get it now. This is just kind of a coupon system, a customer reward system, but it's on this decentralized network where curators are handing this to me and I'm interacting with them and they're getting my value and I'm getting their value, and there's no middlemen, and we're cutting out all the corporations and the bureaucracies and all this other bullshit. And they can slowly start to learn and understand what all this really means versus meme coin number go up, dog with hat, and now we've tricked them into a wallet, into interacting with an NFT, into interacting with a new blockchain that has throughput that actually brings content to them. And then later on, we educate them as to what real DeFi is, what real crypto is, what Hex is, and all these other things that they can get involved with. And they didn't even know they did it. Now they're involved.
Exactly. And you know what? And the analog to that is even how comic books works. Like, there's this whole CGC grading for comic books where you get slabs, you get them in slabs and you get them graded. Some people never participate in that and they don't even really understand it. And a lot of those are authenticated and serialized. They're tracked in a special way, but they don't have to participate in that unless they want to. And that's why I think this is awesome too. They can interact with the blockchain and they can participate in DeFi if they want to. They don't have to. And that's freaking amazing. Every other project is just trying to push people into DeFi, I feel.
But they
and
get the
maybe if
benefits of being on the blockchain and utilizing the tools. And so does the
Exactly.
artists and the curators.
Exactly.
And it's so much cheaper on PulseChain than Ethereum. Like all of this stuff, it makes it impossible to do it. Because I've done stuff on Ethereum and I've bought NFTs and sold them, and I've bought some from some of my favorite artists and sold them for more, actually, right? So got the resale value, and it's just the process of even minting your own NFT is crazy. So some of these people would be, okay, we got this down. We're going to algorithmically make a bunch of NFTs. You can't really do that when the gas fees are astronomical when you mint each one, right? But
Right.
And not everybody is from, a country where they can afford to even mint one, right? And people tend to forget that. Like a lot of people overseas and whatnot, like $10 in Ethereum is way different for some of us than it is for some of them.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah,
so that's just PulseChain just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, we got a guy on the team that's helped make this all possible, this whole platform. He's just a great operator. His name's Jay. Not the Maximus J that's on here with us now, but he was working with several NFT projects and digital stories and animated episodic series that were NFTs on Ethereum. And so he's got a lot of background in this, knows a lot about this, but that became the problem when the fees of Ethereum run up. As Joe was saying earlier, the cost to mint them alone was astronomically higher than it was the actual cost of the NFT itself. So Ethereum's broken in that regard. You can't use this awesome tool that you've got over on Ethereum that we have over here on PulseChain. You can't use it because of the fees. And some of the projects didn't like the idea that we were coming to PulseChain, and they wanted to go to Polygon, which I think is a dead chain at this point in time. The foundation's bankrupt. Nobody's really using it. I'm sure it'll do just fine. People will speculate on everything. But as far as actually being the go-to place that for the broken technology that no longer works on Ethereum to launch your stuff, I don't think that's the case. I think something like PulseChain is the place to go. I think that's the future. And what's beautiful is that a lot of these guys that already had collections minted on the Ethereum side, their collections exist over here already.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right. They're already there. So you're not starting from scratch, having to upload it all and figure it all out. Because some people feel a little cheated if they bought an NFT and suddenly the exact same one is available for somebody else, but you don't really have that problem on PulseChain because it's literally a hard fork at like May 31st or something like that.
Yeah.
Of Ethereum.
May 16th. Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah, it had to be before that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But until I fork PulseChain, and don't worry, sacrifice coming soon, guys. But until I fork PulseChain, they only exist on PulseChain, right? So
if you made it on PulseChain, yeah. If you made it on Ethereum before that time, it exists on Ethereum and PulseChain. But from what you guys are saying, yeah, it's just on Pulse.
Yep. Everything new coming out is going to be on Pulse and only Pulse, exclusive to Pulse.
Well, I think the cooler part is that, like, let's just say process videos, which I know something that Solo is passionate about. Well, actually, the bigger thing than when I was making the initial phone call to Solo is like, it would be really cool if my comic book evolved and I had 2 different copies, and I had the evolution of one and that I kept, and then I had the evolution of the another as it evolves. And for us as artists, we want to make content. We'd love to show process videos, but if it's going to cost $400 for you to see the process video, it's not economically. I mean, you have the prestige aspect that you can spend the money, but I think what Hod Pro is saying is a good tip in the hat. There's all sorts of content creators, people that enjoy this content. A penny to get it now makes it reasonable to actually allow us as content creators to dollop out awesome things of what we thought of when we did something. And it's not an arm and a leg to actually use the process that you want to do to get that exclusivity, that content, that touch time with someone that you respect from an art or a story or a narrative, or however you want to create that creative point of view that us creatives want to create this stuff. but how do we get it to you with it also being cheap and authentic, right? Because now with the world of AI, we have the next stage of what's going to happen is ChatGPT can be a response for everything. People can make AI images. Soon AI content is going to be there. With this type of stuff, it puts a digital footprint on what is done by your creators, not stylized, not copied, not influenced by, but by your actual creators. You create your digital footprint. And that also comes into your art. It's your digital footprint of where you are, what do you want to give back, how do you want to communicate, right? And network and do all the rest of that at a fraction of the cost. And that's what's exciting about doing it on PulseChain from a creator point of view, that I can give my process videos on a background environment or all the rest of that. And it's cheap for me to do. And people that like my work can enjoy it, hopefully be inspired.
But wait, Kool-Aid, what about the consumer? What about the people that consume the IPs, that consume the content? What if there was a studio out there that had this grand vision of participants to be able to change the story and adapt it and to add their own content to it in a place where it was encouraged by the creators for the fans to get involved and maybe forge, their version of the story?
Well, that theoretically is what Paul's going to be giving on Wednesday. So 2 more
So
weeks.
you mean gaming, entertainment, audiobooks, all these things can be manipulated by the user, maybe?
I don't know. I'm just imagining that if we're thinking about it and talking about it here right now, someone's got to be working on it, right?
I think there was a book called Choose Your Own Adventure. That'd be kind of cool. But like the idea is like we're setting the foundation, the forge level for these type of things not to be able to happen. They can happen. They will happen. Because content or creators like Solo, James, who's sick tonight, so he can't be here. And Burton even used to be an ex-game dev. I actually met both of those two back together when I was in LA in 2012. Like, we know a lot of us that want to share our art, our stories, our narrative, and we want to give it to people, to them to play with in a sandbox environment, however that sandbox works, because we already work with that. We use the editor to build fake reality. We want you to come and build and forge fake reality with us. But that would be maybe something for next week for you to tune into with Mr. Captain.
Real quick, everybody, I just wanted to do a couple of shout outs and say hello to some of the OGs. Inviting Freedom, welcome. Good to have you with us. As always.
Don't even give her a shout out. Don't even bring attention to her.
You're invited in also, of course, always.
I can't believe you're still giving airtime to that dude playing a chick on the internet, catfishing everybody.
Now, I have spoken with Inviting, and
it's a very feminine male. I get that. I understand that.
All right. And hello, Susie Q, all the way from Turkey. Good to see you. SMO Spider. The OG Toblerone, good having you here. And another big name in the Hex ecosystem, RH Max, good to have you. And M Rock Jockey, good to have you
also
too. Oh, wait, one more. The Thaw is in the chat room, everybody. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man.
I didn't even see Max hiding in there. What's going on? All right.
Yeah, Max is in there as well.
That's right. That's right.
We have an OG night happening in there. We still got Cabana still hanging with us.
Oh, the Cabana.
What's up, Hexico? Woo, Hex.
I think that's the interesting thing, because if you came from the Hex ecosystem, we built something from the ground community up that says, yes, we can. We can move forward with DeFi for all. We can slowly build the platforms ourselves within our own bubble. And we have so many talented people across the board trying to do things, doing things, succeeding and learning at things, but continuing that flywheel forward as DeFi for all. And that's, with Solo and we've been spitballing, like, we want to build entertainment for all on DeFi. That's a decentralized way to bring those of us that have the skill, time, and experience, and lend them the legs that they need to do what they want to do and love it, and to share it.
That's right. And outside of helping other people, I mean, I have my own ideas in game development, and I've shared them. And I think the best way to prove whether your ideas are correct are to, build your own things and put them into the world. And then you can find out whether you're correct or not. I think there's a lot of things around development, capital raising, and all of these things that I think are a little bit more dogmatic in our industry than they need to be. And I think FanForge is going to help prove the point that like you don't have to make things so difficult if you're just trying to express yourself.
It's about merit, and it's about breaking through. Look, people, even though people in this space, in the crypto space, have talked about wanting what we're actually bringing and doing, and that's what I find very, very hilarious, is that the maximalists on the other side over there, the Bitcoiners, they were speaking this in the beginning. What we're doing right now, they were talking about is the possibility of blockchain. And here it is in front of their face, and we're being gate kept. We're bringing the reality of what they wanted this to look like, and they're selling their Bitcoin to BlackRock right now. Do you guys see the fucking the hilarity of this right now? They are literally, the OGs, the maximalist OGs are literally dumping OTC, their Bitcoin, to BlackRock. The biggest financial dicks on the planet are taking your Bitcoin, while we, the people, a community that came up from the ashes, that came up from getting their fucking neck stepped on the whole time, but wouldn't allow it. We didn't allow it. We never stopped. We never slowed down. We never gave them a chance to bring us down. And we're the ones that are actually bringing the reality of the blockchain to the people. And they're still gatekeeping. But guess what, guys? It's coming to an end. Like, CZ just admitted to all the shit that he did. He just admitted to wrecking FTX. He just admitted, and he is now getting ready to face the freaking fiddler and end up in an orange jumpsuit himself. The guy who blocked us, who put us on page 201 and we had to sue, the guy that wouldn't answer to us, the guy that held all of this down, is now facing orange jumpsuit time. Good on you, buddy. Good on you. And the rest of you maxes, you keep following him down that path, and you're all going to end up there, because we're the ones that are bringing real DeFi to the world. And this is finally it, guys. And slowly but surely, we are going to prove that, we were the ones that were right, that Richard led the way, and he gave us the tools to go out and give the world real DeFi, real crypto, real blockchain. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be so sweet.
You know what's crazy about, and I guess I could say this about Ethereum too, but having art, like, as to what Joe was saying, like, okay, you really want to have a voice outside of the corporate zog of you being an artist, and it's actually pretty tough, because most of the time you just follow orders, right? Like, you make this, you're good at it. The better you are at making things, and the faster you are, the less likely you are to move up, because you will forever be that good person at what you're doing. Any DeFi blockchain that's going to last a long time, like Ethereum, but especially PulseChain, because the fees are lower, for NFTs, your art is going to last so long. Like, we take for granted, there's art on, say DeviantArt, right? Like really old school art on there. What if those servers go down? Where's that artwork? It's like on the lost web. All of these fan sites, these cartoons used to have, and fanfic, they're all gone. These GeoCity sites. And back in the day, we never realized it. We thought it's on the internet. That's on there forever. It is not. Your art is not on there forever. But if it's on a blockchain, that blockchain is going to last 100 years. Like, it's weird to think about now, because we haven't even had Bitcoin that long yet. But what will last the test of time artistically? Blockchain probably will, beyond anything that's uploaded to anywhere in any digital way, and analog. that might be the art that lasts the longest in humanity. Isn't that weird to think about?
Yeah. Well, that's a great point, and that's a great place for me to segue out. Now you go take care of some kids because you guys have said it all. Everything I was thinking. So stay tuned next week, guys. That's all I have to say because there's more from FanForge from us. But you guys continue on talking. I'm gonna bow out gracefully.
All right, brother.
Put some kids to bed. We'll see you guys.
All right, we'll see you.
And ladies
and gentlemen,
have a great night.
Ladies and gentlemen,
good night.
Night, Ken.
So
Yeah.
by the way,
also,
everyone, this is your show. I'm going to put the link in there. Come on in. Come join the conversation. We're going to stay up for a while here and keep the conversation going. So come on in if you'd like.
Yeah, I think I came here a little early. Sorry, guys. I just
no. We were cool with it. We were cool. With
all right.
Yeah, Hod Pro, what you were hitting on is a big issue I have in general with just making digital artwork. It sort of pains me to make art that I know is just going to sit on a hard drive and die, or like the website is eventually going to shut down, like ArtStation.
Most of them will.
Right, they will. I mean, CG Hub disappeared one day. There's been websites besides that. There's only one art. What Hod Pro and I are talking about right now. There's only one website, premier website, really, that hosts artwork, and that's called ArtStation. And it's like the last one alive of these chain of websites that have all come to die. And literally, like, there's not even a warning to the users. CG Hub existed before ArtStation, and one day we all woke up and all our art was gone. And there was some crazy stuff because it was sourced in Russia or something. So there wasn't even anybody to contact. Like, there was nobody to even complain to or point to and go, this person did it. It was just freaking gone. And so, like we've kind of created this thing where the reason digital art can't be appreciated or hold value is because it's so easily deleted in some ways. Like, for all the copies, people are like, oh, you can just copy it. I'm like, dude, more art disappears from the internet than I think is put on there, really, like, that lasts a really long time. So you're totally right. This helps really kind of solve that issue and can allow people to even discover artists after their death, right? Like, maybe some artist doesn't get famous, but they put everything on the blockchain, and like 30 years later, people are just scrolling through and they're like, who's this person? Their art's amazing. The same thing that happens in fine art. Van Gogh didn't get famous till after he died. Edgar Allan Poe didn't get famous till after he died.
What if these blockchains last like 500 years?
Right.
And outlast paintings that aren't, retouched.
Exactly.
It's so young and new to think about, but that's where NFT shines for me, but no one knows it yet because it's only a few years in, right?
Exactly. And we don't even know where all the paintings are, right? With blockchain, you have a record. You can at least know that it was traded. You can know that it exists, or whether it was burned, whatever happens in the ecosystem. But right now, how many Da Vinci's do we not know about that might still exist, right? That might be in private collections that we
not on the blockchain, sir.
That's right, not on blockchain.
If it existed back then, Da Vinci would have put it on there.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd all download his whole brain.
He's eccentric. That's probably why. But yeah,
Totally. So, is there any questions from the community about what we're doing? I feel like everybody's just really excited.
We're just trying to get some people to come jump in and chat with us and ask some questions. But I haven't seen any yet. Hey, we got Maddie Allen jumping in the chat too.
What up, Maddie?
Who's got some questions out there? Anybody got questions for the crew, what they're doing, understanding it, digging deeper? They're here for you.
I got to dip out here in a couple because I got to kill my power in my house. So I'm going to lose internet here.
All right.
All right, guys.
Good luck, man.
Jump in with you. Yeah. And hoping that we'll be jumping on again soon and then, getting this thing rolling.
Right on.
Yeah, see you guys.
Brother. See you, bud. All right. I'm looking through the chat, and it's just.
Is it hop on hour? It's kind of what I did, but really.
Yeah, no, it's it.
Hop on hour.
FN's always hop on. It's always
right on.
We just brought a little crew in early because we're going to have our launch this Friday, and we wanted to make sure that we gave everybody a chance. We have the bigs coming on from the Blizzard world on Wednesday, So
Yeah.
we wanted to get everybody a chance to get, a couple of days in and get some questions stirred up for next week when we bring the actual curators of the content on. Oh, looks like we have somebody here. Hey, so Pop Master 2K, could you I mean, I don't know if you don't want to show yourself, that's fine, but could you let me see?
You got
if
clothes on,
clothes
basically.
on and all that good stuff. Who you are,
You have to show yourself in the background. We don't have to do it in the beginning. Sorry, aisle
Yeah,
three.
I'll pull you down in the green room. You don't have to show yourself, but if you're sitting there ready to do some ridiculous shit, we'd like to hold off on that because some of the stuff's been pretty gross, pretty gross. But anyway,
But I think what Solo and Halper were talking about before is actually pretty substantial. I mean, Dolly, as the eccentric person that he is, it's really impressive in real life to see the actual size of the painting versus the size of the scale of what you see in digital art. If you have an analog digital record of what these things are, think about what augmented reality, virtual reality will allow you to see with these pieces as they can be upgraded and your authenticity of them secured. So there's so much more stages of where you can go with this kind of art platform and securing that kind of content in an archival fashion, an Alexandrian library, if you will. And those of us that have worked in game dev realize how fast everything's moved between Unreal 3 to now. Well, it's going to get even crazier as we move through that epoch of interpersonal stories, interpersonal experiences, all those things that you can actually take and have access to. And, Knipples didn't go. So we have the FanForge, actually NFTs that we're going to be airdropping, to some of the Tangang people for the first series of the first episode. But we also have the FanForge exclusive card membership that you have for life. So anything that dovetails under it not only will get you discounts on merch, discounts on NFTs, but also access to the behind the scenes drama of where real entertainment meets the rubber and the road. And that, not just as someone that, just listening to them for a second, I'm like, shit, I really should do an archival save of my entire art station, because it only takes one whoopsie to lose my entire portfolio and my entire life, 18 years, from starting to, 14 years on the grind. It's all on ArtStation because which hard drive did I save the bloody thing in? Which thing is in bubble wrap that if I have to unload it to figure out where it is. Like what Solo was saying, there's so much art in game dev or stuff on the internet. That's just one stage. But how much art in production that we did gets deleted as well, right? Like I've only shipped 2 games in, the amount of times it actually got to ship it. All the rest of that content is gone. And now you have the ability to create and have that ownership of that content that you create into perpetuity. And since this tech is only fledgling, that's pretty wild, especially for artists and for content creators, writers, narrative, voice actors. Like all of this is wild for us because not only do we own the rights, we own the royalties, and it transcends time. It actually will not accidentally get deleted if a server hicks up or a parent company decides to dump the entire thing, which is really what burns us out as creatives. Like that is really what we would always want to create because we're creative in nature, but the sucker and the ability to show our work and have it like removed from us, scrubbed, and then that what we have theoretically isn't even an IP that we can share because someone else owns rights to it. Bad. It puts a jade on all of us that want to tell the story of many, many things.
Yeah. And it's funny, these things don't really dovetail, but they do, especially with what we've been doing. Now that AI is here to assist us, it allows individual creators to be on the same playing field of people with teams of like 30 or 40. And if you are already a decent creator, AI is just going to make you like Iron Man. It's just going to enhance, AI. A big thing people misunderstand about AI is a reflection of the user. And really, if you're uninspired and uncreative, AI, what it will give you back will be uninspired and uncreative for a myriad of reasons, from how you type in the prompt or even how you feed it your puppet meshes. If you don't understand compositions and silhouetting and all of these things, like AI is really just filling in some details, but in a lot of ways, like AI is the paste eater, kid. I mean, really, like AI by itself is uncreative. It can't do anything. It's just sitting there eating paste. And the more disciplined it is,
really said that.
That's right. Crayon, right?
It is. I mean, yeah, and you're just like, oh, that's AI, and you're like, yeah. See, what AI is just like any kid. They need discipline, and it needs guidance, and it needs an adult and somebody with expertise to tell them what to do and tell them how to survive and tell them how to like go about their lives. And AI is really, really similar. And like, if your goal is to just put forth images quickly, AI is going to help you with that. You know, the fact that we can stand up a whole company website and membership cards and all these things and turn what would take me 3 months of work into 2 weeks is pretty profound, right? Because if at the end of the day, depending on what you're doing, my goal for the membership card is to make a 2D image. So since I'm not making a movie, it doesn't have to move, all of these things, like what tricks can I use to get that to me to that 2D image fastest? Because what I'm really trying to make is a membership card. You know, and that's the thing that is actually giving you access. I'm actually trying to forge you a key, right? I'm not really trying to forge you a piece of artwork. So like, how long do I want to spend 3 months making a key? Or do I really just want to spend like a day or two, right? And but a day or two also getting the same quality I would get by spending 3 months. And that's kind of what's happening here. And I think that between AI and cryptocurrency, you're going to see these one woman, one man bands, right? Who understand who Joseph Campbell is, who've seen every Quentin Tarantino movie, who's played every Amy Hennig video game. And they know all this technology so well, and they're going to release a game like Uncharted by themselves. And they're going to go, I did this all in my free time by my computer with AI assistance. And some people are going to have, unfortunately, the nerve to tell them that they are thieves. And I would argue that if the game is competing with AAA, that person is an artist and has a vision. And I would guarantee if you saw their process that they worked very, very hard. So with FanForge, I'm hoping that by always being open with our processes, by the artists internally showing how we make these things, how we get to these places, how much love and care we put into these places, I'm hoping it shows just how powerful AI and crypto is together as like a weapon in each hand for an artist. Like there's nothing else that exists that is going to give you as much of a level playing field against the AAA publishers now as AI and blockchain. And it's going to take a while for people to see that. And I'm hoping that we just bridge those gaps. I'm hoping that by having, you know, I'm not coming at this from like the reseller's perspective, and neither are we. Like our website isn't going to allow you to resell anything. You know, this isn't a pump and dump or whatever people are doing. You know, I want people to want to be interested in the audio drama. I want people to want to be interested in the artwork we create. And all of the things that you can do outside of it that is DeFi, that should all just be the icing on the cake of like a really cool piece of artwork that a few of us put a lot of passion into. You know, I know Sam, he's going to talk about it. Strange Highways is really important to him. I mean, it's an IP that exists now. You know, these people, they don't necessarily give these things away freely, and they're going to have their say in it, and they want to see them, you know, do well.
You know, so that is such a very valid point on many different hits, but I don't think we've actually shown the website yet. I think we have someone that maybe also wanting to come up. I don't know if we want to do a reveal with someone that actually wants to come in, but I think we should, you know, get an intro and then show the website. I don't think we should do YouTube.
Let's get the website if we got it. Hold on, I'm gonna bring some people in. We got, ladies and gentlemen, the Foss is here.
Hey, hey, a hot tub. You can never go wrong with Larry.
I'm going to bring, since we've got a half naked Thoth here, I'm going to bring on the Pop Master and see what happens. All right, Pop Master, come on up. What's happening? All naked.
Hey. I guess I'm not on here often enough. You guys don't remember me.
Yeah. The name's slipping me. Sorry. I can hardly
No
remember
problem.
names that I know, let alone names that don't show up very often. What's going on, man?
Yes, sir. Oh, just checking in. Curious about Joe, the new project, FanForge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
questions do you have about it? I mean, we've been sitting here talking about it for like 2 hours. What do you have some questions or
No, nothing specific now. I'm just catching up. So sorry. So thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah, good to have you. We're we're just getting ready to launch this thing over the next week here, and we're just talking to the team, bringing content and a new platform to the Pulse chain, and it's going to be delivered with an NFT and an audiobook at first, and then possibilities are endless, especially with the crew that's behind it. These guys are monsters in the industry that they all come from, the gaming industry. And it's going to be interesting to see what they can do with blockchain technology and their imagination.
Right. It's just a new medium. Like, if you come from classical painting, you have, your oil, your acrylics, your watercolors, where we're building a new medium, a new gesture for us to be able to create that stickiness of content and immortalize it in time. Do we want to go ahead and pull up the website?
I have the website, yeah, and you know what? I mean, yeah, we'll get some visuals going. I got the website. Where we can go through my portfolio maybe a little bit, just to
I'd
kind
love
of show.
that.
Yeah,
Do it. Yeah.
I'm gonna press the present button and see what happens. Okay, sharing works best on a good computer. All right. There was some prompt. I was like, okay, all right, cool. All right, so I don't know what you can see. So I'm going to go through my private portfolio a little bit. It's a little bit easier. Just so we can see, I do have an art station. If you search Joe Solo, you will find me here. I am one of, I don't know, we're all pretty much artists on the team. Myself, Larry, James, Jay, Paul, we can all do art to varying degrees, whether it's compositing, 3D modeling, animation, all of these things. Myself, Larry and James have, and Jay have been the ones primarily driving some of the art that you'll be seeing. And now that Samwise is doing stuff, he'll be primarily one of the art drivers. So some of the stuff right now that I'm going to show you in my portfolio, this is all done in ZBrush, Maya or Unreal, Substance Painter, sort of like the main tools. And all of these things are sculpted by hand. Everything in my portfolio, there's no AI assistance. And these right here, we're just going through some personal pieces. So I've worked with Scan Data. The last company I worked with was 2K. I worked on NBA 2K 23, 24, and the upcoming 25. I worked with, some of the scans of the biggest basketball players in the world, including some of my old school favorites. I got to work on some Grandma Ma stuff, some Rick Fox. I got to touch Kobe Bryant's mesh a little bit, Derek Fisher. Some cool stuff, So I've been doing this for a while, and I've been doing it to a AAA level for quite a few years. And so this is just kind of a taste of what we're sort of capable of. So that way, I hope you all understand that any assistance that we do get from AI and whatnot really is just to assist us. The artists on this team are fully capable of creating everything that you see. And to be honest, I think with enough patience and enough time, some of us will create art by hand that is exclusive to the community members, be that through a drop or its own run. So this is some Brad Pitt action. So these are just various images I've created over the years, just working in games on my free time, some Space Ghost. And then I've worked on IPs that James and myself, we worked on The Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners for Skydance Interactive. We're one of the few and only profitable VR games that are out there. People love this game. It's one of the Quest's best sellers. I've worked for Red 5 back in the day. If anybody's a Firefall fan or familiar with some of the spin-offs, spin-off companies from Blizzard. Firefall was supposed to be an FPS MMO created by Mark Kern, trying to be like an extension of WoW, but something like more real time and not like dice rolls. So this is just a little bit of the artwork that I've created over the last, few years. And that kind of leads us into the FanForge website. So right here, you can see a preview. This is not the final membership card, but this is the card that we're kind of working on right now. And we're using a combination of ZBrush, Photoshop, and Stable Diffusion to get this look. So I can share it maybe on another stream. We'll figure it out. But I actually have a small speed sculpt of this dwarf here with the anvil, with him standing, holding a hammer. None of that is being filled in by the AI prompt. I'm guiding all of that, and I'm telling the AI to fill in all these details. And that's sort of how we're going about creating this this membership card that you'll see here. So this membership card is on the front splash page of our website right now, and it is going to be your all access pass to everything here for like discounts and special things. I don't know if we can see anything else. Oh, here we go. You can see our first launch project here. We're going to be launching with Strain Highways, created by Mickey Nielsen and Sam Didier. There are going to be, I believe, 6 episodes that we launch with total. You'll be able to, with the membership card, there's going to be some special access stuff that helps you acquire all these episodes, or you can just acquire the individual episodes. You can go in there, you can buy them. You're going to be able to buy merchandise, all kinds of things. And right now you can kind of scrub through and just get a little bit, get to know us a little bit.
That looks so awesome. That looks incredible.
So Jay did some of these background images, and he programmed the whole website. I think he'll be on next week. And Roy kind of alluded to this earlier. These guys, Paul and Jay, they had this ready to go before we even talked to them. Like before, it's kind of amazing. Half the company was already done before we'd already talked to each other as far as infrastructure. It was kind of like, oh, I've got this IP and this entire platform to release stuff. Do you guys need that? And we were like, hell yeah, we do.
That's why it's cool to have like a project in your head, even though, there's not a necessary like outcome. You just, I have this whole thing. I've got art I made for it. Because when the perfect technology comes out, it's like, bam, there I got it. Right.
Exactly.
Is that kind of what happened? Oh, that's so cool.
A little bit. I mean, I think it really is the network effect. And in a lot of ways, I tell everybody, this is crypto. This is the crypto industry. Crypto and math bring people together. Larry and I got into crypto or whatever, and a lot of these guys like years ago. And this is really the outcome of relationships and decisions that were made many years ago. The die was cast so long ago. And really, it was just a matter of circumstances bringing us all together to sort of finish a journey we all already started separately, but we're ending up finishing together. It's very strange and Japanese and kind of samurai-ish. It's kind of its own story, hero's journey in a way, us coming together, because there was so much already done. A lot of people, they come together and they go, let's come together and then let's form the idea. Everybody already had a piece of this, and it was really about Larry, myself, and a couple others just sliding the puzzle pieces into place. It's crazy.
100. Yeah, it's wild. And you hit it right on the head with the hero's journey. It is the epoch of the hero, and we all have failed the 3 times the hero did, and we were battle hardened and ready with the tools needed to actually create it. And it was just the oddity of the uniqueness. It was the right place in the right time. It was the perfect storm, if you will. And this is actually the perfect storm to bring entertainment to entertainers and make it where it's back about being creative. It's about telling a story and having IP management and having royalties, and number can go up in these things. But more importantly, it's about keeping that immortalization of that story together. Both us as creators, that I want my story told. I want that stuff done. And we also have the other upside is that we encourage other people to come out of the woodwork that need this kind of platform that gives that utility to everyone, to be their own forger or their own fandom and find their own place in this weird, crazy world of being, a creative.
That's right. And, and honestly, a lot of us come from different industries, but we come from industries where everybody's a leader and sort of an operator and an expert. Nobody here is really just a suit, even though I'm wearing one in my picture.
And he forced me to find one too.
I did make him find want something with a color shirt. But
artists are always just like, I'm sorry, I look square in this picture. You know.
But I mean, really, when you look at what everybody does, I see a lot of these founders' websites, and it's a bunch of finance people. There's no finance people here. These are all designers, dreamers, creators, movie producers, game producers, like animators. Everybody here has been on the line. We're not from the C-suite, And
even Chad himself has $4 million or 4 million person radio show. Like,
yeah, he's a radio host. He's honest.
Yeah. Like it's crazy.
So whoever doesn't have a profile picture, you're gonna voxel them up in ZBrush and force them to have. I remember what you look like. I'm gonna ZBrush you out.
They're just being lazy. No, they're not being lazy. Oh, everybody's just being busy, really. I mean, like Roy is busy doing this stream. I don't think it's as important. He gives us his profile picture. I think that's okay.
I just don't have one worth giving yet.
Well, we also see your face all the time every Friday on the FN Hangout. And then Gifford right now is taking his needed retreat in Mexico with his wife and his kids. So but I think Joe hit it right on the head. There's no finance people here. We're all experts in our own particular craft, and we all have a Venn diagram of our experience that can help level up everything across the board. Oh, even Burton's in a suit. Jesus,
I could throw that.
I didn't realize the derp was up there in the suit.
I'm gonna throw that link out for everybody, right? We can do that.
Yeah, it works. Yep, the site is live. You just can't purchase anything yet.
Yeah,
I love it. You're a part, like you're looking at some real artists for crypto, and they're like, "There's no finance people here," but yet you're all in DeFi, like you're way ahead of most finance guys as far as even knowing where to put money outside of Uncle Sam's grasp. We don't do finance.
Well, it's the funny thing about being a game dev is we build fake reality. And when you build fake reality for a living, you have a tangible sense because we had to rig it, script it, light it, simulate it, texture it.
By the way, people have really weird dreams if they've done that for too long. Like if you've done stuff in 3D and you're like lucid dreaming, you go to Burger King and you're like, that's a great texture. Oh God, wait, it's an actual counter. Like it's real.
Yeah, and
weird.
The cool thing about what they're doing here is that the blockchain is just a function of what they're doing. It is just a tool for them to get what their result. It's not like you said. It's not like they're here to trade. They're here to make money off the blockchain. They're here to shield their NFTs. It's like they're using the technology as a tool for curating and delivering their content. That's what's different with what they're doing here is that it's in reverse. They need to use the blockchain in order to produce their content and deliver it to the people that want it.
That's right.
And I was going to do my own portfolio, and I haven't done mine ever live on stream. How do I get it to push? I did the share button.
I'll do it. I got to do it here. There you go.
But I think it's super interesting because Solo brought me out of retirement, right? I was like, I'm done with ZeniMax. I'm done with all the rest of that. He banged on my door for like 6 months. Like, come to work. And I'm like, I don't want to do it anymore. And he's like, no, we come to work. And that IP ended up getting ripped from us again after 2.5 years. But I'm horrible about taking process shots. But this is what we do, right? Like, I'm the world builder level architect, and Solo's the lead character artist, and this is what we create. But here's an interesting thing. I actually took whips of this one.
Your environments are great.
Blood in the sand, right? But when you look at as an architect, I will gray box a process shot from something like this. I build all of this and I do it in grays. And then from there, this shot to here ends up turning into that, right? We can use AI for me to block this out like this and then turn it into that. And that is the process of how someone like me being an architect to build that armature. That way environment art gets what they need. Character art has the world that breathes them life. And then we can take this skeleton and turn it into that. Yeah, all of us, like Solo was saying, we can do the final art. But now that we can turn that into this in a tangible experience in rapid time, we now don't need to spend the month on a shot or a year on a level. We can do it in weeks, and we can do it animated, and we can utilize it that is immortalized forever, that if you get to experience this, possibly it would upgrade. So, all of these things, us as tangible artists, not finance guys, not big ideas that don't deliver, we build this into that. And so, like, that's really inherently the difference between where we came from to where we are, to want to do more with that in type of experience, to bring not just our work, but the story behind it to there. Like when I craft a shot, I stick a bob. Let me go find a bob. And like, I want to like look at my little gray box character and I wonder, what does this guy see? And I stick that there to put my head in that view frustum to ask, like, all right, if Solo's character's there, what does he see? And then when Solo's character lives and breathes and experiences it, he's the guy that is setting up the plates on the bottom that got tired from work and is just hanging out, drinking beer underneath the pit. And then we can actually rapidly create those things for you and through you, to also encourage other indie people, small cap people that don't have a 300-person budget, to actually enable them to do those same type of things and even set the stage for this, because all artists will be using this tech in the future. Like fax machine maximalists don't exist anymore. You have evolved to have a phone in your hand and a computer in your hand and like all the rest of that type of stuff to build that interactive value and stuff together. So yeah, it's absolutely wild. Not only are we building this, but it's what we want ourselves to be able to work from the creative aspect, from the monetary aspect, that we can track our own work, we can track our own fandom, we can actually drill into that metadata, but it also gives rewards to the user and the creator that has a tangible loop on top of each other, which is actually brilliantly fascinating if you dive down to think about where this is going to be in 10 years. When everyone has access to this type of stuff, where is it going to be from red versus blue to making a movie as Rooster Teeth? We're sitting on that epoch.
Yeah, just like
totally.
Ladies and gentlemen, a real lady of DeFi inviting freedom. Whoops. Sorry, Pump Master. We moved the... Yay, inviting freedom. Welcome.
Hey,
How are you?
Hello, my beauties.
Long time no see.
Yes, I love your background. Come to my planet, Hodpril. Oh my gosh, you look amazing and so beautiful. Jay Solo, what's up? Mustache Man. I would say hello to him, but he laughed a little too hard at Black Cap's joke back in a little bit. So, you know. But and then of course our leader, Cap. Always good to see you. I wasn't gonna jump on and interrupt, and I'm so sorry. But no, Mustache Man, no. So I wanted to. I remembered that I looked at the day, and I'm like, you know what? It is Arbor Day.
Oh,
and I don't
here
know
we go.
if you guys remember, but back in the day, I think we're going on 3 years now. We did a Hex Arbor Day, and all of the better people of Hex planted. I think you cut one down, Cap. So because
Now, I was doing
See
some
what happened
remodeling,
was. See what happened was.
And now SJ has taught me out in the field when we've been at events and stuff how to hug a tree. So I have gone out there and literally watched her hug trees. That's what she does. So I've got more appreciation for the arbor ists out there.
Well, and also Popmaster. I see Popmaster here, total OG. But yeah, guys, listen, we planted trees years ago, and with our trees, we did 5 hex stakes. So reminder to those who went out, go check on your stakes, go check on your trees. That was so much fun. We're gonna do it again soon. I needed to get some stuff together, but yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody because that was so fun. And shout out to Hex Siren, who is just a monumental part of that as always. And who else? The ginger guy. What's his name?
The tiny rags to riches.
Brandon Davis.
It's tiny rags to riches. Like, subscribe, send that man a fruit basket, because when you have no soul, you can't reach the top shelf.
Listen,
And by the
man,
way, he's kicking butt on the what is the platform?
Min Connect.
The Prince of Texas.
Minect. Yeah, I went in there and asked some questions myself. If you guys can go support him on, I believe it's Minect. I'm gonna SJ, can you pull up that link for us and throw it in the chat so everybody can go check it out? So yeah, if you want to support our man, our soulless Ginger on he's actually on the top of the leaderboard. Him and Funding Jim Gary are doing really well. The cool thing is that you can get in front of some very important people on a very cool platform that's just developing. And there's politicians, there's journalists, there's all kinds of people on there, and our man is actually kicking everybody's ass. So get up there and help him stay on top, and so that he can actually. I get what it ends up. The prize is he's going to have dinner with the gentleman. What's his name? Everybody.
I can't remember what the person.
It'll hit me. I'm sorry. But the guy that runs Minect, he's going to
Patrick Bet David. Patrick Bet David.
PBD.
Yeah.
PBD is going to be inviting those people to a dinner and actually sit down and talk with them. And Funding Jim Gary's been embedded with these folks for a while. So not to get off on another whole tangent, but this is another thing the community is supporting. Go support Rags to Riches on the Minect channel and get him up on the leaderboard so that we can get more eyes on the Pulse Chain and what's going on.
All the stuff's so bullish for Pulse Chain. It's awesome. It's all happening.
Yes.
I think this is one of the most bullish things for Pulse Chain, to be honest.
No, 100. Because if you hold the entertainment, you hold the Colosseum of Rome, and like it is the blood and sand. It's 100. Keep on going, Joe. But like I jump at this idea because I've been talking about it for years. This is what we want. It's unilaterally, not just forked ideas or code, but to give creators the ability to create unique, breathable, new content on here. And then it'll get wrapped into other blockchain projects or ideas or other substrates.
Yeah. And weirdly, to dovetail into the PBD stuff, because Patrick Bet David is like a hero of mine, Tony Robbins, all these people. I'm hoping that by bringing artists and creators into the crypto system, it also exposes them to more of like the entrepreneurial and financial freedom voices that exist outside of our ecosystem, but are paying attention to our ecosystem, right? The Patrick Bet Davids, the Tony Robbins, the Nick Sosnick, he does Saucecast, I think, on there, Gary, all of these guys, right? Because as an artist, if you want to survive with your own IPs, Todd McFarlane talks about this, you have to also speak business to people. Right? Like if you want to draw spawn all day, you have to make money. Right. And Roy and I were talking about this earlier. Artists have a hard time understanding that like making money and making art are two totally different things. Right. Or making money and making art are two totally different things. And you don't have to overlap the two. You can figure out how to make money so you can make art. You don't have to make money necessarily making art. And I'm hoping this space also opens people's eyes to that a little bit as artists, and makes the artists who do want a voice also a little bit more business savvy, a little bit more finance savvy. I want them to start going after like, wait, what is this Minect thing? Who is Patrick Bet David? Who's Gary Woods? Why are they on this? Why should I care about these people? And it's like, well, because these people are dreamers too. They're a different kind of dreamer. They're a different kind of creator, but they're trying to help build the road that you want to be on, even as an artist. I see a lot of artists. I know a lot of artists. They think me dumb. I just paint, and I'm like, no. Like, you're brilliant. You're amazing. You can paint. I mean, you know how many people would kill to paint. You know how your brain has to function for you to be able to build beautiful paintings. Your brain can handle this. You can be a business. You can be an individual. You don't need anybody but you, right? And I don't know. I think PulseChain, just PulseChain, crypto in general brings that spirit out in people once they get like into the ecosystem, right? It's a weird phenomenon. I feel more financially literate since being in this space than before I was in this space. And I've been making money my whole life. And like, so what does that tell you, right? Like, I mean, money just like having
fast
jobs,
too.
right? Yeah.
It takes like a half year to be in here to be like, oh my God, I didn't know this before.
I didn't know anything, like that's
it builds on itself. You can learn quick. That's why it's fun. I like the idea of artists getting into this because, break free of the slavery of people just constantly telling you what to do all the time.
And it's beyond that too. Like I say the biggest problem for artists and game studios is it's impossible to quantify what they do, which is the reason they get screwed over so often. So for instance, like if I make a character for Prey for Larry's game, how do we know what value me modeling that main character, like what percentage of that from the revenue was because of my character, and how do we I mean, really that. And so you go, oh, well, we just fired the lead character artist. And for all you know, that means your company's profits are going to go down by 50%, but there's no way to track that, right? With blockchain and AI, by allowing the individual artists like more autonomy and allowing them to do more, you can actually sort of calculate the exact value they bring and even look at it on the ledger and go, Joe made this card. It sold this amount of units. It resells for this. We kind of have a formula for how much value Joseph brings to FanForge. Now that can be used in a really scary way, but can also be used in a really powerful way to like prove historical data, to prove value, to prove out like, what do you provide for this studio and why shouldn't I fire you? Because there's a lot of artists right now, they provide so much value to the studio and the studio has no way to quantify it. So they just get rid of them. They're just like, I don't know if we need that person.
And then they do. And then by the time they realize it, they're gone. Or how about animation? That's another thing. No one notices any animation until the IK breaks. Oh,
right.
There's animation. It didn't work. That people only will notice it when it doesn't work.
Exactly.
That's it.
Yep.
Well, that looks weird. That's the only time anyone will notice your animation. If people aren't squicked out by the animation, that means you did it right because they just can't tell. They're spoiled by real life,
Exactly. And how does a company currently of like 300 employees plus 25 outsourced studios plus 2,500 freelancers quantify like what you as an animator who didn't mess up is bringing to the studio and why you shouldn't be fired?
It doesn't look like you did anything other than your job.
Exactly. And
until you mess up.
Until you mess up. Right. Exactly. Yeah. So I don't know. Those to me are like problems that need to be solved, and AI and crypto they're not the ultimate solutions, but they're going to help artists trend in a better direction.
Yeah.
100. And there's something I want to bring up that probably most people don't know, and I may get in trouble for sharing it, but I'll just be frank about it because those of us that know, a DreamWorks movie got canceled. Now, if you know anything about film, the way that post-production works and how much time it gets to do, 50% of all of DreamWorks contracts are going to expire. Now, that's how the film industry works. So those of us in game, we have our studios closed on us. But in film, you're slated to move to the next movie, to move to the next movie, to move to the next movie. Yes, you are employed, but you're employed as a full-time contract, and your contract gets renewed based on the scope and schedule of that project. Same thing just happened with Disney. Another project got canceled. And guess what? That takes a year of pre-production to get all of them in there. So when these contracts are expiring right now at DreamWorks, I feel bad for a lot of people because they basically have no work for a year. Yeah, they'll get a contract will be re-renewed in a year. Go work at McDonald's. What? With the pedigree that we have, how am I going to survive? So what Joseph was just saying about not only is your pedigree itemized, it's tracked and it has historical data that if you want to go freelance, now you can be historically looking at what is my value in a particular feature film or a particular venture. You have something like Dust on YouTube, which is like very, very shorts for sci-fi. Awesome stuff. But like that type of stuff could be quantified where you see how many artists did what was their production role and their output. And that turns it into a much higher tiered LinkedIn, Fiverr, all the rest of that type of stuff that's bare bones for what our skill sets actually are and what we do, or for all the people I mean, look at what happened after Life of Pi. That Rhythm and Hughes went down. The grandfathers of Hair and Sim gone. RIP, right? And it's the same thing with many of us. And Solo was saying again, like a lot of the art that we put up there could be just gone down by a studio, but a lot that we actually created never got the light of day. Like 90% of my work that I've done over the last 10 years of a decade and a half never got to see the light of day. And so if we can quantify that, not only do we have historical data to take that representation to jobs and future finance or freelance opportunities, but it also preserves the creative breath of freedom to make those things keep going on and on and on. And if the old archaic systems of making games isn't working, the old systems of making movies isn't working, what happens is they're pigeonholed. They're pigeonholed into the old rites of passage due to the money and the tech that they're stimulated into. Why is Skyrim and Fallout still on the Gamebryo engine? You don't know what that is? It's an old archaic engine, but it would cost tens of millions to retool that thing to do something new. Now, Birdie just he perked my interest playing Fallout 76. I mean, I worked where they held the server farms up there, and now with the creativity of the new Fallout series, now people are playing the new Fallout game, and that live service wasn't correct for what people wanted back in 2017, 2018, had to been 2018. But now that service has evolved over time, and now people are wanting to play and experience those things. So we're seeing how not only does the tech change, but the creative process change. And if you don't evolve from it, you're just going to get pigeonholed into that same brick of a machine that grinds you up and that doesn't renew your contract of no fault of your own, no fault of your own studio. Someone upstairs of there had a board member decision that they said they had to cut the fat. And that retroactively means all of our jobs, all of our work, all of our blood, sweat, and tears in the Colosseum of Rome is gone. I mean, Derp tried to get me out of the gaming industry 10 years ago, but after 7 years trying to get in, I'm like, I'm almost there. I want to keep trying to tell my stories. I put so much time, effort, money, and craft into the skill set that I want to continue on. It's like, yeah, but you're not going to make money. And that's the whole problem, is this gives a different quantification on, like Solo said in the beginning, if you want to make money, don't come into game dev. Why? The system's broken. So how do we look at this epoch of new technology, and then especially with new technology with AI and everything else is going to cascade off of it? Because this is like releasing Unreal 1 for large language model creativity. And now where's it going to be when Unreal 5 comes in comparatively to Unreal Tournament, when James, Solo's a partner in crime, comes in? Because that's what he was doing. He was the guy for Unreal Tournament, Unreal 1, that epoch in time to now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, AI is the crappiest it'll ever be right now. In 10 years, it's going to be amazing. And it's amazing now. So if right now I think these tools are amazing and they suck, I can only imagine when the tools are real. I mean, and when the bar for entry is lower, because I think Richard kind of, or somebody, I don't know, like there's talk about AI now, and talk about like the AI moat being hardware, right? Which is like you could construct that as being like anti-poor. Like anybody who makes a certain amount of money and can afford a certain amount of hardware is going to have an edge over creativity.
Yeah, like
right?
a million A100s, and you're just making whatever model you want.
Right,
yeah.
Right. Or you just have a pencil, right? Like you're just like, I can't even use it. I don't even have a computer that can run this.
Or
right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I lost my train of thought there. But,
I think it's my fault. Sorry about that.
No. You're perfectly fine.
You'll get it. You'll get it back soon.
I don't know.
It's coming.
If not, I can just jabber. I can make. I can be Captain. I can be Captain Metaphor whenever we need.
Captain Metaphor.
Oh yeah.
You know what? What's weird is I'm looking at your guys' project. I'm not on the team. Larry just invited me to come and talk with you guys.
Your game dev, I poke you.
Be deep inside, maybe it's been a while. It's been a while for me, but it's amazing when the narrative shift is really, and being in crypto, there's so many rug pulls and potential scams, and you're wondering why people are doing things. And you rarely do hear just, I mean, Tangang, you hear it more often. I think that like Mana or Cats and then Claus making the art is, okay, everyone wants to make money. And I know we've been in an economic bear for a long time. And I think people's final goal for making money is, I don't want to lose my house. I don't want to be poor, because, you know, housing everywhere is so expensive. Just getting an office to run anything, to hire anybody is so prohibitively expensive that people are really in this mindset where I need money, and it's out of fear, right? And when you're at like, okay, let's say I have $100 million, $10 million, right? What do I want to do with the money other than have shelter, you know, be able to be retired and afford, you know, DoorDash or whatever you're doing? What else do you want to do? And the answer to that is often an artistic endeavor, right? So what you guys are really doing is just having fun and making the artistic endeavor and building another world. And it's on the blockchain. And it really is almost like what virtual reality will eventually be. Like, and
Right.
as a concept is not just, oh, you know, I could pretend I'm cooking at a, you know, fake McDonald's and I have hand things and it moves, and you see these in conventions, and, you know, and those are cool too. And if I've had an Omni where you walk around in VR, you get sick because the latency in the camera isn't quite right. And you're like, oh, cool, when I was in a virtual world, you know. But that sort of, okay, we're doing something on the blockchain. We're going to make a choose your own adventure, and it's going to be like a real, you know, environment. Like, that's the kind of thing that makes you think like, well, is this a step ahead of where humanity's going to end up going? Like, is Unreal 8 going to be you step into the game engine? You know what I mean?
Well, it's already almost there. I mean, you can already do.
It's scary
VR.
close.
Well, no. Well, let's take one step further on how we use image-based lighting for films. Like when they did Mandalorian and all the rest of that, you're basically dealing with a circular, spherical, image-based lighting rig, and at that point, it's projecting the real light, the real backgrounds. You just need a props to cast it off of, and now I can change that environment in real time. We don't have to fix it in post.
Freaky.
And that, it's freaky now because it's moved so quick. Again, Moore's law and Metcalfe's law binding onto each other on how fast things actually tactically move together when everything comes together. It's going to happen. I mean, the Derp and I built a metaverse in Unreal UDK. I mean, it was Unreal 3 back then, and it still looks better than most, but we had to get characters on screen, all the rest of this type of stuff. It's kind of wild, but like this stuff is the first epoch to actually build real metaverse type things for content creators, not just have a pie in the sky, because at the end of the day, if there's nothing for people to do, it's going to fail. And that's the real problem. It's like all these metaverse experiences don't really have an experience. It has a price tag for something that's coming soon.
Yeah, it's a money making rather than like an obsession on the future of humanity and where it's going.
Well, it's
Yeah,
it's exactly what happened when the .com boom hit. Pets.com went through the roof. Why? Because they had a landing page. It was literally a landing page. It
and
had
Beanie Babies.
no tabs, any of that stuff. And everybody went nuts over it and put money into it because this was the new emerging technology. And even though it was itself worthless, the advancement and the move towards what was happening was where the value really was. And, you know, and that's kind of what's happening in this space right now, is that people are throwing money at things that may not be the value. They just might be the entry or the things that are the technologies that are emerging to bring the value later, which is where this project is sitting. You know, the first crypto kitties, everybody's like, what the fuck is that going to do? You know, and all it did is screw up Ethereum. You know, it moaned and did stupid shit because people stuck money into it. And then, you know, here we are, a different iteration of, you know, that process and really putting, you know, application and value and artwork and all that into that technology. So it's starting to come around and it's still going to take a while. It's still going to take a while, but we're getting there. We're getting there.
Right. Well, it could also dovetails into like, because a bunch of us core are also on, the gift side. It's simulation, not speculation. As content creators, as artists, and all the rest of it, we already understand simulation. We build fake reality for a real time. Like this is something we actually we get it conceptually. However, the bigger facet is that we couldn't move forward with it due to red tape, roadblocks, producers, publishers, all the other intrinsic things. Now we can move forward with all of that tangibly to show that others can. Again, it's actual simulation of what is to come when other people start to forge their own vision without the need of publishers, to do it indie, to do it old school, or to do it more raw, right? You can be an individual. I mean, if you want to deal with NFTs, Beeple was, I'm going to draw 100 or 365 drawings, and I'm going to put it up there to see what the hell happens. That was just a dude doing something as an artistic merit, not to cash in bags. Like the bag part hadn't been created yet. That was just someone be like, I'm going to draw every day for a year and see what happens. Like now we can do that again and have back tested data, have something that is content blue check mark approved, something that can actually create and appreciate and value due to the buckets that it exists in on future tech, right? The old industry is stuck on a landline.
Yeah, but there's also that magic spark there of authenticity to that, which is a lot of people are lacking, right? Mark Echo talks about this in his book. Authenticity is super huge. If you approach this as I'm going to create an NFT to make $1 million and what the NFT is going to be is unimportant to you, you probably will have poor sales. Now there's the meme factor, of course, but I mean, really, like for me, I have projects in mind and IPs that I want to release through FanForge that I haven't even talked to these guys yet. Just stuff that's been on the back burner for like 20 years, just like marinating and simmering. And what I want is it's not just FanForge. What I've been waiting for is like, what's the best platform to try to do this? Who are the best people to try and put this in front of? How am I going to be able to present my most authentic self? Because it's not whether it sells a lot or sells a little to me. What's important to me is that people see it. And if all it's important is like the goal of like, I want to put something out in the world and see how it's received, like a piece of art, the rest is just, kind of like details. Like it happens to be on PulseChain, it happens to be all this, but you're not grifting anybody. You know what I mean? There's an authenticity there. You're literally like, look, regardless of what happens on chain, what's important to me is that this gift of art is birthed into the world. And so, I think when you have creators like Beeple who, they're just trying to put art in the world, they're trying to do something authentic, people can get behind that. And that's why they end up making a lot of money, which is super interesting. The end goal ends up being the same as the person who planned it, but they're doing it because they love it and they're being authentic. And FanForge, Strange Highways, it's oozing with authenticity.
And that's art, entertainment, music, and everything,
And they get used to low overhead too. Like, I'm a bologna sandwich. I'm gonna live in a single wide, and I swear I'm just gonna make my art. And all of a sudden, they get millions of dollars.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Even look at Bansky, right? He's the ultimate example of analog stuff that people rip and literally steal the bricks of the wall to take it and resell it. That's why his Girl with a Red Balloon, that he shredded it on the auction stage when someone actually bought it, is the ultimate example. But funny enough, because that shredded original Bansky art, it actually went up in value. But the point was that the art is important regardless of what the sellers are going to do to acquire the art. The rarity is anything that he strokes is anonymous to the point that his message is more important than anyone knowing who he is, because at that point, the face of the artist stands in front of the message. And that's why usually most artists become famous after they're dead, because they no longer have their face in front of them. And then people really start to discover the gravitas that was there. And like you can see that in real time between the old classical artists, like Solo was saying, how many Da Vinci still exists? Who knows? But then Bansky, being the anonymous artist, doesn't want you to look at me. I don't care about anything. I could spray paint anything and make $1 million immediately if I wanted to. I'm still here for the street art from the ground up. I want my message to be portrayed, not who my face is to be bought. And I think that's very valuable because now you can do both with the advent of AI, blockchain, interoperability, proof of passage, and bringing the cost down to a single person like Notch can make Minecraft and get $1 billion for it. Like, it's an enigma, but it does happen.
Yeah, and it's only going to accelerate. You know, I was in I had an instructor in college, a professor. He was an old school game industry producer. He had been there. He'd been playing games since like before board games and before computers, when like computers were first invented, and they would like print out X's for maps on like those
punch card things.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And he was like a producer all the way up until like Master of Orion 3. And he told me even 2004, he said the future of video games and entertainment is 4 to 5 people teams, and they will be producing all of the highest and most quality AAA work of everybody. He's like, he knew that 20 years ago because the industry was already trending there, because you already had these anomalies kind of popping up. You already had these people who are like, I can program, do all the art, do all the storytelling, like get it certified and do everything all by myself. And all these tools are just accelerating that. You know, there's the new Beethovens of our day and Mozarts are coming, and they're going to be assisted by technology. And I think people are currently upset about that, but when I think they understand that they can be their own kind of super person, they're going to embrace the tech more themselves too, right?
Sure. Yeah. Well,
it's funny you say that. Like, I remember I worked at this place called Area Games, and we had the CEO named Lon, and we'd have this big, there's a few hundred people that worked there, right? And they had a big, like all hands meeting. And he's just like, he was a kind of an eccentric man. He's just, our enemy, our number one competitor are 6 nerds in a guy's mom's basement. He's like, I don't want you guys to forget it. 6 nerds in one basement. That's who we need to look out for.
That's exactly it. That's been my mentality.
Yeah, it's true.
It's been my mentality since all these waves of industry layoffs. I know everybody's
seeing Zynga, everything that they've bought or kind of made, it's like from 5 or 6 nerds in a basement.
That's right.
A lot of these games, yeah.
And now they're firing a bunch of people who are going to form 4 and 5 person teams in a basement, and they're going to go, you shouldn't have let me go, because now I'm going to make the game that competes with you.
Well, now there's the non-competing clause, right, too, the federal that was passed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's super interesting. That's why I'm here. I mean, I think it's time to get into a new industry. I think that everybody applying for the same job, doing the same thing, I think it's time as artists to move past that. You know, I think that games houses some of the most brilliant people in the world who don't necessarily need to be making games. They could come over to this space and do just as much, if not more, and have a community that actually embraces them and wants them to be there. You know,
it's the whole point of the Stanley's Parable. If you remember it, it's a game dev making fun of game dev about a single guy that explores what we go through and the nonsense. And I mean, even Paul was saying a 5-person team is a super team, because you have just enough on all equal laterals, as long as they have the support to get the vision that they know that they need without all the extra effort of patching, plugging, figure out what changed in Maya, Unreal. Why is a nuke not working? Like, I know what a depth max is. Why is this not doing it? If I can get those tools that give me the ratio of stretch that I know with the eye of my experience, now we're cooking with gas. And that's where you get those fundamental things.
Cheaper gas on the PulseChain.
Oh, 100 cheaper gas forever. Well, I mean, that's the whole funny thing about like Half-Life and Valve, right? Like, they don't ever have to release anything. Why? Valve is their moneymaker. It is their ultimate never inflating machine. And because of that, they don't have to go back and strike, but they gave those platforms a jump pad or a launch pad that they also can get out there and get that exposure with a robust tool set that allows them to do it. Well, I mean, Steam itself, fantastic, but we're looking at the new evolution where there's going to be more Steams and more ability to expand out of still that limited umbrella, that very limited lens that people go through. I mean, look at big money like EA with Origins, and they want to make their own type Steam, but guess what? It collapses. most of the big corporate conglomerates that do things actually collapse. And that's the funny thing, is they take everything else around them with them. It's the small people that actually, if given the opportunity, can make the great successes. And that's what's funny, is that these small little, again, audio dramas or niche stories could be huge IPs later, films, MMOs, all the rest of that, because the tools are going to be coming that these 5-man teams in your grandma's basement, like Grandma's Boy, can actually now push those things into reality. If you happen to have one of the original founder niches, it's like getting a Black Lotus from Magic, right? And like that thing's, it's the same epoch of a Mickey Mantle if you go back, a generation or a decade or two. So like those things are still coming, and it's going to just move faster.
Yep. And there's going to be technology. Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Listening, you guys are talking about like the conglomerates and everything, and Hodprill, I think, mentioned a non-compete. What is that about?
So
they stopped that. The feds just
really know what
stopped people having to everything. This non-compete contract has been bandied about by just about everyone. I mean, employees working for companies had to sign these non-competes so that they wouldn't go work at the fast food restaurant down the street. Like literally, it was getting that ridiculous. So the Fed stepped in and said, no more of these ridiculous non-competes. People can go and do and work and create where they want to. So a small step, but this non-compete thing and this NDA thing that has just been kind of bandied about everywhere has kind of put a hamper on things and been very litigious. But I don't know the full story of what was actually passed. I just heard it, and I know a little bit about the industries and what's been going on. So it needs to be. I'm just giving a basic overview from what I read today. But yeah, that just happened to where now people are going to be a little more free to take themselves and their IP somewhere else without being held down by these ridiculous agreements.
The grand scheme of things, that sounds significant. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, when you're doing a creative job, sometimes that non-compete means you can't work somewhere else. And sometimes what that means, depending on what you're signing, whether it's legal or not, is you cannot have a project outside of work, or it belongs to the company that you're working for, right? And that's the big thing with artists. Like if you work at, I don't know, Disney or some other big thing, it's like you want to put your hours in and go home and work on, Super Giraffe Mania, and you can't, because if they find out, then it's Disney's Super Giraffe Mania. That's just an example. I'm not saying, but that means that a lot of creative people cannot be creative, and they can only follow orders and be technically proficient at making what they are ordered to make, right? So that's a huge thing with artists.
Hyper correct.
Correct. You almost become beholden to a master.
Awesome.
Not only that, you're signed away for a particular amount of years after. So because I experienced, or because maybe I even helped design proprietary tech, proprietary characters, anything like that. Now I can't even do what I invented in any other shape or form, including my own even media. So it's wild with that kind of stuff.
I want to answer something real quick here. Yeah, Thoughtschild said NDAs. I still see kind of NDAs are. I misspoke a little bit, but from my own experience, I went and talked to a supposed wannabe big shot in the industry. He crossed over a few different industries, but in the crypto space, and just walking in and having a meeting with this cat, they want you to sign NDAs, and they want to hold you to, all these litigious type, you can't speak about the meeting after you've been there. And even with your own content that you bring in and have a conversation with them, they try and, overreach with these NDAs. So not saying that NDAs are a bad thing. They're definitely necessary, especially in business and like the stuff that we do. But sometimes they do overreach, and there's people that kind of abuse them and just you know, you walk into a meeting with some guy and he wants you to sign NDAs just to have a conversation, you know.
Well, even from that one thing you're saying right now, that situation, that NDA would also say that he can't say about the meeting, but because the NDA was signed under his umbrella, he can take that meeting and take the content and run with it because of the way that the NDA was structured under the umbrella. It wasn't a free fall discussion. That's why usually you need someone that also has equilateral economic energy, right? Think of it like Twittery pride. That's why basically you need publishers to come in and be like, yeah, we've got it. Like we have lawyers. Like when I worked at ZeniMax, they had 7 attorneys to handle retainers for divorces. Like you have to understand the logistics. Yeah, I know it's wild, right? But I know, right? It is what it is. So it is. But that's why giving the freedom back to the content creators, like decentralizing artists on a decentralized chain. It's one of the big pillars that we're looking to do. And there's so many other under the hood, but like giving that freedom back to the creator, it's so paramount to, especially now. I mean, the side project for the GTA people just laid off 1,800 jobs, or no, 11,000 jobs 2 weeks ago, something like that. Like it's just like this is the sad story that's never told, and that's why when you give the artists the freedom to create their own stories, to have ownership of their own IP and intellectual property and wherewithal, whether that's tactical data from price appreciation or experience, it's so much more grandiose than all the stuff that normally we just get deleted.
I have a sad story. Speaking of that kind of stuff. Hey, Captain, I had here's another thing about like NDA, which I support NDAs. I don't think people should just go, you know, randomly. But some of that is, let's say you've worked on a game for 4 years, whether it's, you know, like, I don't know, a Street Fighter or Rayman or something like a AAA title where they have a bunch of money to run, and you have an NDA. Don't show anybody this content, right? And then they cancel the game. What are you going to show your next job and they cancel you? What have you been working on for 4 years? Oh, it's under NDA. Like all of that work, not only is that not going to be released, but you are legally not allowed to show what you worked on the last 4 years. So your portfolio, you have to take time out being broke between jobs to make new content because you cannot show what you've done in that last job.
And literally all you have is your association with a failed project, you know, whether or not your content was good, bad, indifferent, whatever. All you show is, yeah, I worked over here for 4 years and this thing went belly up. Oh, well, great. We'd love to have you over there.
I've gone to a lot of studios and known people in them, and I've seen art that has been made that will never be released. And some of it's so beautiful. Some of it was so ahead of its time. And it's like, oh, you can't show that. That's like your hard drive. That's like your hard drive that you've saved everything for 4 years being exploded. You know, especially if you have a non-compete to go with it. It's not like you could go home and make your own thing, right? So everyone has to lie in this industry and say that they're not competing, and they have to secretly take their shit off the computer. So when they get canned, they'll take their laptop away and you're not allowed to get the stuff you've worked on. It's brutal.
It happens immediately. Like when you get walked in there, like you immediately. And
like a few times over the
bad.
years.
You know, it's bad. I mean, for me, the last 2 games I got canceled, that's 7 years of my life gone.
Yeah, and you're out of there that day. They take your stuff, and your ThinkPad is in IT. They're wiping it, and your little plants on your desk are in the garbage, and you're gone.
Well, they've already corralled you into a different meeting. Like you walk in ready to go to work, got my coffee in hand, be like, yo, we've got a fire over here. We need you to come solve. You walk in, you see way too many people in one room. It's done. Your computers are already hard locked. You're already done. Everything.
You can't download what you've made.
No, you can't even go back to your desk. They literally take your badge and escort you out right from there.
Yeah, well, that's the way you get fired, baby. Hey, last thought, we're going to shut it down. One thing I wanted to address with Hodpril said something, and I wanted to say something kind of quick about it, is that when people make tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, the first thing that's on their mind is lasting longer, taking care of
the longevity,
spending money on their bodies, their health, their you know, that's me every day. It's about my trainer, my nutritionist, my vitamins, the things that I'm taking, looking at longevity, and going to squeeze an extra few years out of it and bug the shit out of all of you for a little while longer. All right, everybody, give one last word. Go ahead and say something if you want. I want to thank my guests for coming and my partners in crime here, Derp, Solo, and of course, my good buddy Kool-Aid. Thanks for coming, guys, and explaining what we're doing. Can't wait to hear what Samwise and Paul have to say on Wednesday. It's going to be very, very cool. And then, hey, check us out, guys, on the Freemint Friday. You're going to have opportunity to get involved and get some free giveaways from this project, and then watch it launch and be part of the whole exciting thing here with FanForge. Anybody else? Then thanks, Hardpro, for coming, and Pump Master, appreciate you too. But always good to have you inviting. Thank you for showing up and gracing us with your presence and your arborism.
Love you guys. Thanks, Cap.
All right, take care, everybody.
Thank
All
you.
right, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks. We'll see you next. We'll see you on Monday on the Chatting with the Captain, where we're going to be talking about a different type of launch that we're doing next week, and that's going to be a crypto launch. So we're doing it too. All right, everybody, have a good one.